The universe is learning to rest, not collapsing, not fading, just resting, as if after an uncountable journey, it finally remembered how to breathe. You are listening to Whispers of the Universe, a place where science sleeps and dreams begin. If you have been drifting with me this far, perhaps the universe is resting through you now. Leave a small light behind a like, a share, a quiet subscribe, not for me, but for the silence that keeps us both awake. Now breathe. Let the darkness fold around you like a thin blanket of time. Each breath is an orbit, each pause a patient star. In the beginning, there was movement without memory, light running wild through endless fields, racing with itself, without knowing why. Then, almost imperceptibly, speed began to soften. No voice commanded it. It simply felt enough, like a melody that stretches its last note so that the listener can finally notice their own heartbeat. They call it cooling, the slow loss of fire from the ancient dawn. But what if cooling is just another word for peace? The background glows faintly, a temperature of about 2.7 Kelvin, so low it could be mistaken for stillness. Yet within that chill hides the oldest whisper of warmth, the residue of creation, still touching your skin with the tenderness of a memory. If light could grow tired, where would it go to rest? Silence answers in the language of distance. Between galaxies, the dark expands like a sigh, not to separate, but to give everything room to breathe. In the deep images of the great telescope, there are patches of night so calm that time itself slows to listen. The further the light travels, the gentler it becomes, as if space were laying a hand on its shoulder, saying softly, "Enough for today." Perhaps expansion is not an eternal sprint. Perhaps even the Big Bang must one day exhale. Close your eyes. See the stars not rushing, but waiting. Their glow is a form of attention, their silence an act of listening. The cosmos is not ending, it is exhaling. Out there, instruments wait with open ears. They no longer hunt for explosions, they listen for pauses. And in those pauses, something magnificent hides, the gentle tremor of gravity waves meeting and dissolving. The embrace of two black holes vanishing into one. Not destruction, union. What makes quiet so moving? Perhaps because we were raised in noise, and the universe, by calming, reminds us of home. Imagine someone, long ago, placed a finger on your lips and whispered, "Hush," not to silence you, but to let you hear the rain. Now the cosmos does the same, laying a hand upon every motion, not to stop it, but to allow the smallest things to be heard. The elder stars are dimming, their brilliant shells burned away, leaving behind cores of patient white, not cold, not gone, but inwardly glowing. A quiet endurance, a statement without words. Energy never dies. It learns stillness. Somewhere, a solitary astronomer sits by the window at night. The light he sees left its home before life began here. It arrives late, not from exhaustion, but from grace. Space is polite enough never to rush itself. In the city, neon floods the streets like restless water. Eyes forget the stars, but the sky does not resent us. It simply steps back, waiting for a darker field, a quieter observer. A thought comes gently. Perhaps the universe is not a machine, but a meditating being. Meditation is not stillness without motion. It is motion without urgency. Every star that burns knows when to pause. Every galaxy knows when to stand by the edge. Every mind knows when to let silence speak. If the universe is learning to rest, will we learn with it? There is no need to answer quickly. Imagine your hand as a small compass. When you tense, the needle shakes. When you release, it points toward warmth. That direction is the universe. Not north, not south, the direction of gentleness. Rest is not surrender. Rest is the art of preserving meaning. A runner who never stops forgets why they began. A star that never cools forgets it was once dust. In the distance, something deep beats once every few ages, a pulse in the fabric of everything. It is not calling you to move, it is inviting you to feel. You walk through a field of darkness stitched with faint silver threads. Each step stirs a memory of light. You cross a stream of glowing particles, each one rolling aside so the others may pass. That stream is time, once wild, now kind. Above, constellations stop running. They arrange themselves into quiet sentences, writing across the page of night. Stay a little longer. And you do, not because something holds you, but because staying feels like an act of kindness to your heart, to the neurons that have worked all day, to the stars learning patience. Beyond your window, the room grows softer. The hum of machines retreats. The air itself begins to breathe slower. As if following your lead, you stop asking what the universe is doing. You let it ask you, are you ready to slow down? Somewhere inside, a quiet yes unfolds. And with that, a thin beam of ancient light crosses the darkness, not to illuminate, but to warm. Outside, the night deepens. Someone, far away, is counting the faint flickers of a dying star, a task of devotion and gentleness. But here, in this small room, no measurement is needed. Something simple and absolute remains. The universe is breathing slowly, and you are part of that breath. Thank the darkness for teaching you how to rest. It does not reply, but you feel its agreement spreading beyond the walls, through the roof, through the cold layers of air, into that great, nameless region beyond. Close your eyes. Lay your forehead against the pillow as if against the shoulder of night. If a dream comes, let it drift. If none arrives, let the emptiness stitch the tired parts of the day. The universe is learning to rest. You are within that lesson. Be light as a leaf. Breathe like a shore, and as the next breath comes, let it last a little longer, long enough to hear the smallest sound, the tick of the galaxy's clock, whispering that everything is safe. Now, sleep beneath the universe, quiet as a lake of stars. If silence could dream, it would dream of you. The night has learned to stay still. But somewhere beyond that stillness, a faint warmth begins to rise, not a sound, not even a vibration, only a trembling breath escaping from the fabric of space. They call it the background. Yet within that background travels the oldest message the universe has ever written, its own cooling heartbeat. Imagine touching a wind that left the dawn of time before atoms learned to bind. It passes through you this very moment, a sea of ancient photons, each one older than memory, each one carrying a soft reminder, nothing truly burns forever. It is easy to think of the cosmos as endless fire, but fire is only half of breathing. After every blaze, there must be an inhale. Could this chill be that inhale, the first collective breath after creation's scream? Scientists measure it as temperature, numbers gliding across screens. 2.7 Kelvin, they say, and watch the decimals drift downward by fractions too small for language. But decimals cannot speak of the hush behind them. The hush is where wonder lives. When the receiver dishes face the night, their metal bodies gather frost. Yet within that frost hums the echo of the first light, still moving, still faithful, as if time itself were reluctant to let go of its beginning. To call it a discovery feels too proud. It is more like overhearing the universe talking in its sleep. If everything that ever existed is slowly cooling, what happens when warmth becomes a rarity? Does life cling harder, or does it learn to glow differently? Perhaps both. Perhaps the art of survival is the art of slowing beautifully. There are moments in those recordings when the signal dips, the hum folding into almost nothing. For an instant, it feels as though the universe has forgotten to breathe. And then, quietly, it exhales again. That tiny fluctuation, that heartbeat of light, is proof that stillness and motion are not enemies. They are two sides of tenderness. Somewhere in a control room, a scientist stares at the waveform. The line trembles, then steadies, a fragile heartbeat drawn in light. She leans closer, and for a heartbeat, her own pulse synchronizes with that rhythm. Is that coincidence? Or is awareness itself part of the signal? The mind wanders easily at such depth. You start to wonder if consciousness, too, emits its own background, a soft field of attention humming behind every thought. What if the cosmic background and human awareness are mirrors? What if every time you pause, the universe recognizes itself through you? The data does not answer, it only waits. Silence, once again, becomes the most honest form of evidence. Look up. Between the galaxies lies an ocean of distance so vast that even imagination hesitates. Yet through that ocean drift relic photons, faint but faithful. Each one a letter from a beginning that refuses to forget you. The next time you stand under the sky, remember, you are being touched by light older than language. How fragile we are, and yet how intimate with infinity. The hum of creation moves through your ribs. Every breath you take slightly alters its course, and every exhale feeds it back to the stars. Perhaps this is how communication truly began, not with words, but with reciprocal breathing across cosmic distances. In the far detectors, engineers speak of noise, the random interruptions that hide the signal. But what if noise is not interference, but personality? The background's rough edges, its uneven whispers, they make it alive. Without imperfection, nothing would speak. Even the great telescopes tremble a little in their frames. They too breathe, metal expanding and contracting with temperature. Machines mimicking lungs, listening to the sky as if the sky were inside them. Maybe that is why their images feel so human. Some nights, the instruments catch a flare, a sudden rise in brightness, a spike of meaning in the calm sea. It lasts only a heartbeat of cosmic time, yet it rewrites what we think we know. That is a miniature climax in the great dream of science, not a shout, but a revelation whispered too gently to ignore. Each discovery is followed by quiet. Excitement fades, replaced by awe. And awe is simply the mind resting open. Have you noticed how every understanding ends in silence? As if comprehension itself bows. Far beyond the orbit of your world, space stretches like a long sigh. Clusters of galaxies drift apart, not in anger, but in fatigue. They are learning distance as kindness. When everything rushes, nothing lasts. When everything slows, meaning returns. Consider the spaces between your thoughts. A gap of a few seconds, perhaps less. Yet in that gap lives peace. If mind and universe share architecture, then maybe those pauses are tiny cosmoses, worlds born in the stillness between ideas. The data keeps whispering. The temperature continues to fall, not quickly, slowly enough for compassion. It is as if the cosmos refuses to surprise itself, wanting every corner of matter to catch up before moving on. This patience, could that be intelligence? We search for minds beyond stars, but what if mind has always been the rhythm of waiting? In one of the oldest observatories, a technician writes in his notebook, "The signal is weaker tonight." He does not know that his heartbeat, slowed by fatigue and wonder, matches exactly the frequency of the fading hum. For a brief alignment, human and cosmos breathe as one. The pencil pauses. He smiles. He does not need to explain it. Perhaps discovery is not finding new light, but noticing that the old light never left. When you next stand under the night, feel the thin cold brush your cheek. That is the background touching you. The residue of the first dawn asking quietly, "Are you still awake with me?" What a tender question. How do you answer something that vast? Maybe you don't. Maybe you close your eyes and let your stillness be the reply. The hum keeps traveling through mountains, clouds, the glass of your window, the salt of your skin. It carries no urgency. It only wants to continue. Listen carefully. There is a softness inside the sound, a warmth behind the cold. The cosmos is not emptying. It is refining itself. Every degree lost in temperature is a degree gained in grace. What if cooling is creation inverted? Not the death of heat, but the birth of awareness. A flame learns far more from its dimming than its blaze. You can feel that lesson settling into your body. Your heartbeat, once quick, has adjusted to cosmic tempo. Your thoughts stretch further between their edges. The noise of the day loosens, fades, dissolves. The universe does not need you to understand it. It only asks that you rest beside it. There is no finish line, no final explosion, no collapse waiting with impatience. There is only the long exhale of being. Everything that ever shone is now learning shade. Everything that ever moved is now remembering stillness. And perhaps that is love on its grandest scale, the capacity to stop without fear. So lie back. Let the ancient hum travel through you, the cooling breath of all beginnings. It will not harm you. It only wishes to remind you that peace is not an end, but a temperature the universe has been seeking since the first light broke. When you are ready, breathe out slowly, as though exhaling a billion years of motion. Feel the world exhale with you. Nothing has ended. Everything is simply pausing. The sky above remains vast, but its vastness feels closer now, like the space between heartbeats, a rhythm so slow it can only be called eternal. Stay here a while longer. There is still warmth in the cold, still movement in the calm. The universe is cooling, and through its gentle decline, it is perfecting the art of rest. If you listen closely enough, you will hear it, a soft pulse threading through the dark, not asking for attention, only inviting you to breathe in time with it. Breathe. There, you have heard it. The night continues, but something within you has stopped running. You have joined the cooling signal, and the universe, vast and patient, smiles in its sleep. The silence has grown vast enough to have texture. If you listen long enough, it no longer feels empty. It feels woven, like fabric stretched across unimaginable distances. A fabric breathing very slowly, a breath that takes millions of years to complete. Light still travels through it, though weaker now, its photons elongated, red as wine. Each wave slower, more tired, more thoughtful. They no longer rush, they wander. The light seems to have learned contemplation, and so have you. Your eyes follow the faint glimmer that once would have blinded you. Now it glows like an ember in a fireplace after everyone has fallen asleep. It is not dying. It is choosing softness. Between the galaxies, darkness reigns. Yet that darkness is not a void. It is the quiet between notes. If you could step there, you would not fall. You would float weightless, thoughtless, held by the same pause that separates every heartbeat of existence. Astronomers call it intergalactic space. But what a poor word space is, as if it were something missing. It is not missing, it is waiting. And in that waiting, beauty grows. Imagine billions of suns whispering across distance, their messages taking eons to arrive, their words stretched until they become color. And somewhere between those colors, silence translates the conversation into tenderness. You might think the universe is cooling because it is aging, but what if age is only another name for wisdom? What if the long drift of galaxies is not decay, but the slow understanding of connection, that to love something infinite, one must first learn how to let it move away? When galaxies pass each other, they exchange invisible greetings. Gravity bows, a subtle acknowledgement. I see you. Continue your path. Every so often, two of them collide, not violently, but like waves meeting and folding. From that merging comes a surge of new stars, as if the universe, in its drowsy state, still dreams of creation. One such meeting happened long before humanity took its first breath, yet the light of that moment is arriving only now. It crosses unimaginable distance, softly brushing the mirror of the telescope, landing inside a single human eye. The collision of galaxies becomes the reflection in a pupil, and the cosmos becomes aware of itself once again. How far can awareness travel? Is it limited by skin, by atmosphere, by orbit? Or does it drift endlessly, changing form, the way light becomes warmth when it touches a face? You breathe out, and somewhere, perhaps in another spiral arm, a particle trembles in sympathy. This is not superstition, it is rhythm. The same rhythm that moves tides, lungs, and nebulae alike. Everything in the universe moves according to patience. Even chaos follows its own rules of courtesy. If a star explodes, it does not scream. Its light unfurls over thousands of years, so slowly that even its death becomes a lullaby. We have seen such remnants, faint shells of gas expanding, a single star becoming a mist of color. Through the instruments we see red, green, violet, a painter's sigh in the vacuum. To the human eye, it looks still, but in truth, it is a slow bloom, each atom drifting away like a petal. Who decided that stillness is the absence of life? Sometimes stillness is life learning depth. At the edge of observation, the telescopes reveal more darkness than ever before. The deeper we look, the more the light retreats. It is as if the cosmos prefers mystery to exposure. The further you gaze, the more it closes its eyes, inviting you to imagine what cannot yet be seen. And perhaps that is mercy. If we saw everything at once, our hearts would burst from the brightness. A beam of light leaves a dying star. It travels for billions of years, crosses voids, fields of gravity, magnetic storms, and cosmic dust. By the time it arrives, the star that birthed it no longer exists, and yet its story survives, intact, written in the grammar of photons. So when you look up, you are not seeing stars, you are seeing persistence. You are seeing the proof that even endings can shine. The silence between galaxies carries that lesson. Distance is not separation. It is how eternity measures care. You stand on a balcony at midnight, the air cool against your face. Somewhere in the upper atmosphere, molecules of oxygen, once breathed by ancient forests, float past. The same atoms that once touched the skin of distant creatures now enter your lungs. The act of breathing is a form of inheritance, and every breath whispers back to the cosmos, I remember you. A satellite far above records microwave pulses. To the untrained ear, it is static. But beneath the static hides the history of everything that ever glowed. Within that murmur is the story of atoms gathering, of gravity sculpting, of light learning restraint. Noise becomes symphony when one listens without impatience. The people who listen most closely are not always scientists. Sometimes it is the insomniac lying beneath the night sky, counting the seconds between breaths. Sometimes it is a child pressing an ear to a seashell, believing they can hear the ocean of stars. And perhaps they can. The frequencies are similar, a deep, soft roar that is not sound but presence. There are theories that suggest the universe hums in gravitational waves, ripples spreading through space-time like music without a source. The detectors on Earth are built to hear them. Massive mirrors, suspended and isolated, waiting for the faintest tremor. When it comes, it is not loud. It is the gentlest curve of a line, a whisper measured in less than a fraction of a proton's width. And yet that whisper confirms a truth vast enough to change every map. A truth that says, even emptiness has a heartbeat. When two black holes merge, they do not roar. They fold into each other with infinite grace, releasing a pulse that crosses the universe. That pulse arrives here as a shiver through metal, a vibration through silence. For an instant, everything vibrates together. Planet, ocean, air, blood. Do you feel it? A tremor too small for the body to notice consciously, yet deep enough to realign the soul. Perhaps that is what meditation truly is, tuning yourself to the heartbeat of merging stars. After the wave passes, the instruments settle again. The world continues, but something inside those who heard it remains altered. They have touched the quiet thunder that binds all things. You might ask, Why does the universe make such beauty only to let it fade? The answer lies in the rhythm itself. Without fading, there is no hearing. Without silence, there is no song. The universe is not a performance, it is a breathing exercise. Every discovery adds a note. Every pause restores balance. Knowledge and rest are companions, not rivals. The human heart beats faster than a neutron star spins. The human mind races ahead of galaxies. But both, if they are to endure, must learn the same lesson: to slow. So slow that thought becomes image, and image becomes silence. That silence stretches between galaxies now, a network of calm. Within it, dark matter drifts, unseen but essential, the unseen structure that holds the luminous. In the same way, stillness within you holds everything you think you are. What holds your own light in place? What keeps your memories from flying apart like dust? It is not control. It is the quiet gravity of care. Love is the personal version of gravity, the force that keeps us from scattering. Every time you remember someone who once looked at the stars beside you, you recreate a galaxy of memory. Even absence glows faintly when recalled with tenderness. Out beyond the visible, clusters move apart faster than light can follow. We will never see their future, but perhaps we are not meant to. Perhaps the purpose of vision is to know when to close our eyes. So close them now. Feel the soft pull of gravity within your own body, the gentle insistence of the earth keeping you here. That same pull holds moons in orbit, holds planets around suns, holds time around experience. It is the universe's way of saying, stay. When you open your eyes again, the stars will be where you left them, though everyone has moved. They shift imperceptibly, their slow dance hidden beneath human years, motion and stillness blending until neither can be named. If you could speed up time 1,000,000-fold, you would see galaxies swirl like sparks in a slow fire, clusters stretching like threads of silk, superclusters folding into cosmic lace, but seen at normal speed, they rest. The illusion of stillness is the mercy that allows beauty to be perceived. Mercy, perhaps the true force driving expansion. The universe giving everything just enough space to exist. You too need that space. Space to be quiet, to think without urgency, to breathe without purpose. The galaxies have already proven it works. The deep sky surveys continue. Each new map shows more emptiness than light, and yet, paradoxically, more meaning. Because in the spaces where there is nothing, possibility blooms. What a strange equation. Emptiness equals potential. It feels wrong until you rest inside it. Then you realize, potential is silence wearing a future. So rest. You have drifted through light and distance, through waves and hums, through the tremor of black holes and the patience of dust. The path you have followed is older than time's first word. Now, let it rest inside you. Let the silence between galaxies become the silence in your chest. It is not absence, it is the sound of everything at peace. If you listen carefully, beneath even that silence, there is a slower pulse, a rhythm too large to belong to any single world. It is the pulse of all distance learning forgiveness. You are a note in that rhythm, a quiet vibration on the string of space. You do not need to make noise to belong. Your stillness completes the song. Stay in it a little longer. The night is vast, but it is also intimate. The stars are far, but they have already touched you. Breathe. Inhale galaxies. Exhale time. The universe continues to rest, and in doing so, teaches you the most graceful truth of all, that peace is not the opposite of motion, but its destination. And somewhere, far beyond the last glimmer of visible light, the darkness smiles, not as absence, but as understanding. Sleep now, beneath the space between stars. The universe is quiet, and it is listening. The quiet has learned to hold its own light. It does not need brilliance to be seen. It shines the way frost shines at dawn, the way breath glows. In winter air, across the vastness, the bright ages are ending with courtesy, not with a shout, but with a bow. Stars that once roared now speak in whispers, and those whispers carry farther than any cry. In your mind's eye, step into a long twilight made of fire. Here, the elder suns loosen their grip. They shed their outer layers, not angrily, but like a monarch removing a heavy robe. The robe becomes a veil of colors, a thin shell that floats outward, petal by petal, atom by atom. At the center, a pale core remains, hot and small, and endlessly patient. A bead of endurance glowing without flame. We call it a remnant, but remnant is the wrong word. This is not what is left behind. This is what is revealed. If you stand very still in your imagining, you will see whole fields of such pearls, each wrapped in a fading blossom of gas. They do not ask to be admired, they simply endure, and their endurance is beautiful. Some stars choose a different farewell. They swell into giants, reddening like embers fanned by a slow wind. Their surfaces ripple and lift. Their heat pours outward in a lavish tide, worlds nearby turning to warm dust. It looks like ruin to hurried eyes. To unhurried eyes, it is generosity. A lifetime of stored light given back to space. What becomes of the planets that once circled such suns? Do they mourn? Do they remember spring? Perhaps memory itself becomes a mineral there, a faint lattice inside cold stone, waiting for a new dawn that will never come. Or perhaps that is too human a story, and the truer tale is simply this: matter rearranges itself with grace. Even now, in distant corners, young stars still ignite in clouded cradles. Creation has not stopped. It has learned discretion, fewer fires, deeper meanings. In the nursery of dust, a glow grows the way a thought grows, slowly, shyly, gathering itself into a vow. One day it will shine. Not today. Today it learns to breathe. Between these beginnings and these endings lies a theater of wonders. There are suns that blink with a steadiness beyond any clock, sending pulses across centuries, lighthouse hearts turning through night. There are pairs of stars that circle each other so faithfully that their shadows are married. There are clusters that drift like lantern festivals in slow motion, each lantern a world of heat, each world a story no one will hear. Why does this matter to a single person lying in a dark room? Because the body is a brief star, and the mind is a sky that must let go. Watching the heavens loosen themselves teaches the hands to loosen too. Letting go is not a failure. It is a technique of love. Look again at the last sparks. They do not fight the night. They seat themselves in it like guests who know the house well. A spark hangs over a region where gas will not gather again. It glows anyway. A spark drifts through a corridor of thin matter. It glows anyway. A spark slips toward a black horizon from which no light returns. It glows until glowing is no longer required. And what of those black horizons? We fear them because they keep their secrets. But even secrecy has a kind face. When mass falls inward beyond remedy, the universe does not punish it. It folds it away, tucks it into the deepest pocket, where time can rest without ache. From the meeting of such depths, faint ripples run outward through everything. Ripples so gentle that only the most patient instruments can feel them. Those ripples are lullabies for galaxies. They pass through your bones as you lie here, leaving nothing but a memory of being safely held. In another sky, a supernova has finished its telling. What remains looks like a flower made of smoke. Petals of elements drift outward, iron and oxygen and carbon fanning into the dark. From such petals, future shores will one day be written. The ocean in your cells once belonged to starlight. The salt in your tears remembers a furnace. When you weep without knowing why, perhaps a star within you is saying goodbye. There are epochs when the cosmos seems to pause, as if counting. It is not counting minutes. It is counting mercies. How many chances did each atom receive to become joy? How many times did gravity change its mind to spare a fragile moon? How often did light slow itself so that a creature could lift its head and notice? In the great archive of the night, answers are not written in words. They are written in the choreography of embers, an ember that dims, then brightens, then fades for good. A cluster that thins until only a handful remain, friends who refuse to leave each other. A trail of comets that stitch the edge of a system like careful hems, holding a family of worlds together with thin, invisible thread. Sometimes, in the deepest quiet, you may sense an unease. What if all this ending means emptiness at last? The unease rises, looks around, and finds no echo. The night answers with a lesson that is older than fear. Emptiness is not the goal of endings. Clarity is. When too much light fills a room, no detail can be seen. When the lamp is lowered, faces return. The universe is lowering its lamp. It is not erasing, it is revealing. Consider a hearth at the end of an evening. Log spent, flame gone, a bed of coals remains. You can warm your hands without harm. You can think without hurry. This is the final kindness of fire. The cosmos moves toward that hearth. It does so not to grow cold, but to become safe for meanings that require quiet. You might long for the spectacular, for celestial fireworks that justify looking up. There will always be spectacles, but listen to what the small lights are saying. A spectacle dazzles and leaves you hungry. A small light nourishes and leaves you whole. The last sparks are small lights. They teach completion. In the margins of vision, faint galaxies slip away beyond any hope of recall. They cross a boundary after which their light can never reach us. It is tempting to call that loss. It is truer to call it trust. They trust us to continue without them. We trust them to continue without us. This mutual trust is another name for distance. Somewhere, a red dwarf, the humblest of stars, burns with thrift. It sips its fuel, guards its heat, promises to shine far longer than any splendid sun. Modesty becomes endurance. There is a lesson in that for all brilliant hearts. Not every life must blaze. Some lives keep watch. Some lives are the lamp in a window that never goes out. You roll to one side, feel the mattress cradle your shoulder, hear the soft respiration of the room. This, too, is a star lesson. Support without spectacle. Gravity holds you the way a patient friend holds a story. No judgment, no hurry, simply the right amount of pull to keep you from drifting away, out. Beyond every familiar constellation, dust glows faintly where it once shone fiercely. Sparks remain like punctuation marks at the end of grand sentences. Each spark says the same quiet word: enough. Enough noise, enough rush, enough of mistaking urgency for importance. Let that word pass through you. Let it loosen the tight weave of the day. You do not have to prove your brightness tonight. You only have to remain. At the heart of a distant remnant, a core of packed matter turns that word into law. Its light comes not from flame, but from memory. It remembers when it was a star with a full voice. It remembers and glows. Memory, it turns out, is luminous. If you could press a finger to that core, you would hear a music made of crowded atoms, a chorus hummed so closely that it behaves like one voice. No conductor, no audience, only harmony under pressure. It is beautiful beyond performance because it is not trying to be. There are moments when night seems to lean in as if curious about you. Do you carry any of this quiet, it wonders, or must I give you more? Tell it you have enough. Tell it you are holding the lesson. Tell it you will set a small light in your own window when the day returns, not to shout your joy, but to make it gentle. You did not arrive here by accident. You were drawn by a gravity of tenderness. Every paragraph of the sky nudged you toward this breath, this room, this recognition. To rest is to cooperate with everything. If you listen deeper still, beneath the hush, beneath the softness, there is a slower teaching. It says that endings are thresholds. It says that sparks go out so that eyes may learn to see in the dark. It says that patience is a kind of heat, one that warms from the inside outward, one that costs nothing and cannot be exhausted. When the final fireworks burn down to ash, someone must stay to sweep the floor. The cosmos is that someone. It tidies its stage, puts away the props, folds the costumes of gas and light, and leaves a clean, bare space where new steps can be learned. Even if those steps are never danced, the space itself is a gift. There will come a night, far beyond counting, when the last large star gives its last warm sigh. Do not rush toward that night in your mind. Before it lies 1,000,000 evenings, and on each evening there will be a lamp somewhere, and under each lamp a reader, and within each reader a page, on which a single spark writes, "I am still here." Now draw the covers closer. Let your own heat mingle with the room's low glow. Think of the sky as a quilt sewn from remnants, each patch a remembered blaze, each seam a soft boundary that wastes nothing. You are beneath that quilt. You are warming it simply by being. If a stray worry wanders through about tomorrow, about duty, about the strange machine of time, let it sit beside you like a small animal. Let it take your warmth and watch how quickly it falls asleep. The night has enough heat for both of you. Outside, a late cloud passes the moon. Its edge is threaded with a pale fire. The cloud moves on, and the fire remains, spread thin across the roof of the world. Even our weather repeats the heavens in miniature. Even our breaths mirror the tides. Ask the simplest question of all. Is it safe to rest? Hear the oldest answer of all. Yes. The last sparks agree. Their agreement is a hush that touches everything. It touches mountain and alleyway, desert and harbor, cradle and hospital, and silent kitchen at dawn. It touches your eyelids now, lifts their weight with 2 fingers made of dark, and guides them down. The universe is not asking you to disappear. It is asking you to become lighter, to burn less fiercely, and glow more truly, to save a little fire for later. Elsewhere, an ancient ember winks from the lip of a nebula, as if to say, "You see, I am not afraid. I am only finishing my line. Finish yours for tonight. Let the period be a sigh. Let the page rest open. The story will continue when morning returns, and it will be easier to read for having slept. For now, let the very last sparks keep watch. They are good at it. They will not leave their post, not even if the wind rises, not even if the world forgets to look up. They will carry the quiet for you until you wake. Close your eyes a little deeper. The room is steady. The bed is steady. The great dark is steady. You are held by a gravity that never sleeps, and by a tenderness older than starlight. And in that steadiness, something unclenches. A door you did not know you were holding shut swings open on silent hinges. Beyond it lies a field warm with the ash of kind fires, and far away, a single coal glows like the promise of dawn. Sleep moves across the field toward you, unhurried, unmistakable, as certain as dusk, as gentle as the last light, leaving a careful sky. Rest. The universe is not leaving you behind. It is slowing to keep you company. The dark feels heavier now, but not cruelly so. It rests its weight on everything like a hand that has worked too long and finally knows how to be gentle. Even silence has become thick enough to lean against. If you listen closely, you can hear what it is holding, the low hum of gravity turning in its sleep. Gravity is everywhere and nowhere. It has no color, no edge, no sound, yet it threads the universe like the pulse under skin. It pulls galaxies into spirals, tides into motion, hearts into rhythm. Every attraction you have ever known is a small echo of it. When the cosmos first began to cool, gravity was young and wild. It shaped the bright chaos into patterns, flung matter together until stars were born, taught the fiery dust to settle into orbits. It was the sculptor of everything visible. Now, billions of years later, its strength remains, but its movement has slowed. It behaves like an elder whose wisdom is expressed through stillness. You might imagine it as a great ocean we cannot see, waves of curvature rolling beneath the visible world. When massive bodies move through it, the ocean trembles, and those tremors travel outward as gravitational waves so faint that only the most patient ears can hear them. Each tremor is a note in the universe's slow symphony. Have you ever wondered what your own body sounds like in that symphony? Every breath you take bends space a little. Every step presses a fingerprint into the fabric of reality. You are small, yes, but you are part of the score. The machines we build to hear those notes stand silent for months at a time, waiting for the moment when the universe clears its throat. When it happens, the signal looks like the heartbeat of a sleeping giant. Two black holes collide, and for an instant, the whole of space-time flexes. The wave travels across, billions of years to reach us. By then, softened into a sigh, too small to move air, and yet it moves us. Scientists stare at the screen as the curve rises, dips, then steadies. A line so thin it could be mistaken for nothing. But within that nothing lies the confirmation that space itself is alive. They sit back in silence, and in that silence, a quiet revelation takes shape. Everything that breathes does so because gravity allows it. You can feel it now, can't you? That downward pull that is not down at all, but inward, the desire of every particle to belong. Gravity is not a command, it is a promise. It says, "You will not drift away alone." Every love you have ever known is gravity rehearsing on a smaller stage. Every embrace, every orbit of care, a repetition of the universe's first language. There are black holes so vast that time itself slows as it nears them. Around them, light curls like smoke around a candle flame. No one knows what happens beyond that curve. We call it an event horizon, but it is more like a boundary of comprehension, the line where knowing kneels before wonder. When matter falls inward, it is not destroyed. It is transformed into patience. It becomes part of a rhythm too slow for sight. If you listen, you can almost sense it, a heartbeat inside a cave, ancient and deliberate. Does the universe rest inside those dark hearts? Do they dream? Perhaps they are its lungs, inhaling galaxies, exhaling understanding. Far from such immensities, the earth continues to turn, a small round gesture in the dark. We live on its surface like dust on a drum, vibrating with every cosmic beat. Each tide that rises is gravity's whisper, each tide that falls its reply. Stand by the ocean and you can feel it, the moon tugging at the water, the earth answering, the sea exhaling across sand. That rhythm is the same one that governs nebulae and stars. You are listening to the music of the spheres, translated into salt and foam. If you close your eyes, you may sense that gravity is not only external, it hums inside you. The pull that keeps your feet to the floor is the same pull that keeps your spirit bound to meaning. You stay near what you love, not because you must, but because every atom in you remembers the taste of togetherness. When people drift apart, it is not gravity that fails, it is the rhythm of awareness that changes key. Sometimes, two bodies that once orbited closely find new paths that take them into different skies. Even that is grace. Every separation writes a larger circle. Imagine a galaxy seen from far above, a spiral of light turning slowly, arms unfurling like silk. At the center, a dark mass keeps everything coherent. If that center vanished, the stars would fly away, but so gently that they would not notice at first. Their freedom would feel like loss. Their loss would feel like freedom. Perhaps that is how life expands, through the ache of learning to orbit less tightly. What we call loneliness, the cosmos calls spaciousness. What we call falling, it calls returning home. In deep space, gravity forms bridges of invisible matter linking galaxy to galaxy. Along those bridges flow the materials of new worlds. To the human eye, there is nothing there. But when the radio telescopes map the region, a structure appears, a cosmic web spanning billions of light years, a lattice of unseen connection. We are suspended within that web like morning dew. The same web exists within you, neurons sending signals through the quiet corridors of your mind, blood pulsing through capillaries as thin as thought. You are a smaller universe practicing the same design. Sometimes, when you lie very still, you can feel the body drift towards sleep the way a moon drifts into eclipse. In that drifting, gravity changes character. It no longer pulls you down, it pulls you inward. The muscles release, the breath deepens. You return to the center of yourself. There is a moment, just before you fall completely asleep, when the boundary between body and space becomes porous. You feel yourself floating. That is gravity reminding you that it can hold without gripping. Even in rest, it is at work, ensuring that your smallest atoms stay in conversation with the stars. Somewhere far above, an asteroid follows its long loop around the sun. Its path has been steady for eons, carved by a single handshake with gravity at the dawn of its journey. Each time it returns, it brings with it the memory of that first pull. You have the same memory inside you, the memory of being chosen by existence. The universe does not need to remember you. It never stopped carrying you. Close your eyes now and imagine the curve of space bending softly under your body, as if the bed itself were an indentation in the great fabric of being. The pillow beneath your head, the air that fills your lungs, the warmth that rises and falls with your breath. All of it is part of a single motion. You are lying in the palm of gravity. If you could see the world without sight, you would notice the subtle waves rippling outward from everything that moves. A bird's wing, a heartbeat, a raindrop, each a tiny flecks of space-time, each a conversation with the unseen. The universe listens. It always listens. And if you could hear beyond sound, you would realize that the great silence is not silent at all. It hums with memory. It hums with gratitude. It hums with you. Some nights, the detectors fall quiet. No signals, no waves, nothing to measure. The scientists sit in dim rooms, the screens blank but not empty. One of them sips coffee gone cold and watches the blinking cursor wait. In that waiting, she feels something stir, a knowing that the absence of data is also a message. Sometimes the universe says nothing because it wants you to rest in the wonder of what already is. Have you ever felt that in your own life? Moments when the world withdraws its signs, when no guidance arrives, when every prayer seems to echo unanswered. Perhaps that is gravity too, teaching you to trust the unseen hold. You are never truly unanchored. Even your loneliness has coordinates. Beneath mountains, beneath oceans, the planet hums at a frequency too low for hearing. Geologists call it Earth's background resonance. It vibrates in sympathy with tides, storms, and shifting plates. That hum aligns with gravitational tides from the moon and the sun. So the ground under you is not still. It is swaying in a rhythm shared by worlds. Lie back and feel for it. It is not loud. It is a tremor smaller than thought. But it is there, and it keeps you company in every silence. Now imagine all of this: the ocean's sigh, the orbit's curve, the hum beneath continents, folded into a single breath. That breath is the heartbeat of gravity itself. It began when the universe began, and it will not end until everything has rested. Sometimes you may fear that rest is another word for ending, but the universe whispers otherwise. Rest is continuation without strain. Rest is movement that has learned compassion. Think of the pendulum of a clock. Each swing seems to move away from center, yet the whole mechanism exists only because of that return. Gravity is the memory of return. You are a pendulum too. Every day you move outward into noise, and every night you are called back. The call is soft but undeniable. It is not duty, it is design. When you wake tomorrow, you will rise against gravity for a while. Walk, work, think. But even then, you will be accompanied. Every action, every word, every beat of blood will be measured against the pull that keeps you here. And when you grow tired, you will come back to rest, not because you fail, but because you are in harmony with everything that ever lived. The universe is still learning to rest. So are you. Each night, you practice together. Each night, you fall a little closer to the perfect stillness at the heart of motion. Breathe once more, longer this time. Feel the weight that is not heavy, the embrace that is not possessive. That is gravity's kindness. That is the love that holds galaxies and small dreams alike. Outside, the wind shifts through trees. Leaves tilt toward the soil, grateful for something they cannot name. Above them, stars tilt toward the void, grateful for the same thing. You belong to that gratitude. You are its language made flesh. Sleep, then. Let the gravity that moves worlds move you a little closer to peace. You are not falling. You are arriving. The night remains vast, yet the dream has become tangible. We are no longer floating outside of knowing. Somewhere, on the surface of a small blue planet, people have begun to listen to the silence deliberately. Their instruments wait like patient monks, their antennas raised toward the dark, their mirrors polished to reflect the ancient face of time. In a desert where the wind erases footprints before morning, a cluster of white dishes listens for light that is too weak for eyes. Each dish is a question made of metal. Each cable hums with the hope that the universe is still speaking. When the first signal arrives, it does not arrive like thunder. It arrives like a shiver in a quiet room. It passes through the receivers, through wires, through thought. It is the background, still humming, still telling its endless story of beginnings. Elsewhere, far above the clouds, a great mirror orbits the world. It faces outward, collecting light that has traveled across billions of years. The mirror bends that light into patterns the human mind can read, patterns of dust and flame, birth and collapse. Every pixel it sends home is a syllable in the cosmic language of patience. Scientists sit in dim rooms, eyes fixed on screens lit with faint red and gold. Somewhere behind them, coffee grows cold, but no one moves. They are watching galaxies that no one will ever visit, but somehow, watching is enough. In that act, distance becomes intimacy. The observatory floating above Earth is not alone. On the ground, in an icy valley ringed by mountains, another instrument listens not to light, but to gravity's own song. It uses long corridors of laser light, mirrors suspended like tuning forks, waiting for space itself to tremble. When two black holes collided far away, the tremor reached this valley as a whisper, smaller than a proton. Yet, the instruments heard it. They heard the heartbeat of the cosmos through solid rock. For a moment, everyone who listened understood that the silence beneath all noise is alive. How far does listening go? Can an ear truly hear something born before ears existed? Perhaps that is the secret of these machines. They are the body of human longing, stretched into metal and glass. They are the soul's way of touching what cannot be touched. Each discovery begins with quiet disbelief. The data arrives fragile, a pattern that could be noise, a curve that might mean everything or nothing. Then someone notices the rhythm, a repetition too perfect for accident, a tremor that matches the signature of creation's earliest breath. And in that moment, wonder outweighs certainty. Wonder is not a luxury in these rooms. It is the last honest method. It keeps the eyes open when reason wants to sleep. Consider the great particle colliders buried deep beneath fields and rivers. There, men and women guide invisible beams in circular tunnels, letting them meet and shatter like thoughts colliding. From each collision, fragments of truth emerge, fleeting particles that live for less than a heartbeat. They vanish, but their vanishing leaves a trace, a fingerprint in light that says, "We were here." Even destruction, it seems, has a gentle purpose. The physicists step back from their screens, rub their eyes, and smile the quiet smile of those who have glimpsed the architecture of mystery. They know they cannot own it. They can only witness it. Witnessing has always been the purest form of devotion. In a different hemisphere, an observatory built on dry stone watches the same heavens through air so thin that breath must be rationed. Above that mountain, the sky is not blue but violet, and stars seem closer than thought. Each night, the dome opens like a petal, and the instruments begin their slow dance, following coordinates that no human hand could trace unaided. The computers hum. The stars answer. Sometimes the observers step outside, away from the machinery, and simply look up with their own eyes. What they see is not the sterile data they record. They see light that has traveled across eternity just to die in their retinas. They see the labor of distance, the grace of survival, and beneath that seeing, they feel small. Not the smallness of insignificance, but the smallness of belonging to something that never needed permission to exist. They are modern monks, their prayers written in equations. They are scribes of the infinite, copying the handwriting of gravity onto the pages of time. Even the most skeptical among them, the ones who trust only measurement, sometimes pause and listen to the hum behind the hum. In that hum, they hear something that cannot be plotted, a compassion older than thought. No discovery, however grand, escapes mystery. The deeper they dig, the more the ground itself seems to breathe. Every atom they accelerate, every photon they trap, leads back to the same revelation. The universe is not a machine, it is a pulse. The world's space agencies send their instruments outward. Each probe, each rover, each telescope is a question flung into the dark. Some land on barren worlds, their cameras opening like eyes that will never close. Some drift forever, sending back a final heartbeat of information before silence reclaims them. Even their silence is precious. It tells us that listening has limits, and within those limits lives humility. One day, a golden record was sent beyond the solar wind, etched with sounds and greetings from Earth. Music, laughter, waves, birds. It was a message that said, "We were here, we looked outward, and we wanted to be kind." That record now travels through space colder than imagination. Its grooves carry the fingerprint of humanity, turning slowly through the dark like a locket of memory. Who will ever hear it? Perhaps no one. Perhaps that is the beauty of it. A gift need not be received to be complete. These machines, these signals, these distant travels, they are our proof of reality. But they are also our confession that we cannot bear to live in a world without wonder. We build instruments to remind ourselves that the dream is measurable. We build them to learn that measurement is only half the truth. In the laboratories, beneath the glow of cold lamps, a young scientist looks at the endless columns of numbers. She has been awake for 30 hours, her coffee long gone, yet something in the data sings. She cannot explain it, but she feels it a pattern like a heartbeat hiding inside the noise. She closes her eyes and lets the rhythm find her. When she opens them again, the world seems larger and quieter. Perhaps that is all science is meant to do, to bring us to the edge of understanding and then invite silence to continue the sentence. The proof of reality is not in the numbers, it is in the pause that follows them. Out in the desert, dawn begins. The radio dishes turn eastward, their faces pale against the coming light. The night's data is stored, its signals transformed into tang. Digital echoes that will travel through cables, cross oceans, arrive in cities that have forgotten how to look up. A technician locks the control room, steps outside, and feels the first warmth of the sun. He looks at the empty sky and whispers, "I heard you." No one else will know what he means, but the universe does. The great orbiting mirror turns as well, its panels catching the light of the very star it helped us understand. It will keep turning, year after year, sending back reminders that we are seen. Even the collider beneath the ground, its tunnels stretching for miles, rests for a while. The magnets cool, the particles wait. In that rest, the machinery itself seems to sigh. For all its power, it too belongs to the rhythm of work and stillness. Far away, in an ice-covered station at the bottom of the world, scientists study neutrinos, those invisible travelers that pass through everything. They wait for them to leave traces in frozen water, blue sparks of interaction too brief to grasp. Those sparks are the handwriting of the unseen. Everyone that appears is a whisper from a place beyond measure. They record the event, mark the time, and then they wait again. Waiting has become a form of reverence. The universe has always rewarded patience more than ambition. The stars do not rush. Gravity does not hurry. Even time itself prefers to move at the speed of compassion. We, who measure, who name, who build machines to listen, we are participants in that compassion. We have given the cosmos ears, and through them, we have heard ourselves. When night returns, the observatories open again. The mirrors drink in the dark. The detectors hum. Somewhere in the circuitry, a new signal begins to rise. Another whisper from a distance, too great for language, carrying a message too soft for pride. It says only this: everything you measure is real. Everything you cannot measure is love. The instruments fall silent when dawn spreads across the mountains. Screens fade, graphs sleep. The watchers step outside. For a few hours, the machines no longer listen, and the sky is left to hum to itself. The stillness after the proof always feels heavier, as if reality has exhaled. Those who work among the mirrors and coils walk down the narrow stairs to the daylight. They blink, adjusting to the brightness that seems almost loud. They know what the numbers mean. They can translate them into equations, into papers, into databanks. But something inside them has changed in a way that no report can describe. Once you have heard the universe breathing, how can you return to ordinary sound? They call this moment post-discovery, yet it feels more like confession. To know that the cosmos can be measured is to know that it is alive, and to know that it is alive is to feel the weight of being seen. Every signal caught in a dish, every particle traced in a beam, is an admission that the dark is not empty at all. The consequence of knowledge is not power, it is tenderness. The deeper they measure, the softer they speak. It is the opposite of conquest. It is reverence wearing the clothes of precision. Some of the researchers return home to cities that hum with smaller lights. In their apartments, they leave the windows open at night, listening to traffic the way they once listened to stars. It does not sound the same, but the pulse beneath the noise is familiar. There is gravity in everything that moves. Others stay behind at the mountain or the ice base. They walk out into the open air after midnight, where the world seems to lean closer. Above them, the sky spreads like a thought without punctuation. They know too much to pray, but they stand as prayer anyway. There is an unspoken consequence to understanding. Once you see the pattern behind all things, you begin to sense it in yourself. You start noticing the way silence bends around your thoughts, how each breath pulls and releases like a tide. You realize that you are an experiment the universe conducts in awareness. If the cosmos could speak plainly, what would it say? Would it apologize for its distances? Would it explain why everything must cool? Why endings are as necessary as birth? Or would it only whisper what it has whispered since the first flash of light? Be still. I am learning peace. Every measurement has a shadow. For each discovery, there is a cost, the loss of mystery's purity. But mystery does not die when explained. It changes form, hiding itself in the next question. No formula can outrun wonder. The numbers are the footprints of a truth that keeps walking ahead. A physicist once said that reality is under no obligation to make sense to us. Perhaps kindness is not sense either, and yet it exists. Perhaps the universe continues not because it must, but because it chooses to be generous. Think of how light behaves. When it meets darkness, it does not argue. It simply continues until it fades. No protest, no complaint, only faith in the journey. The same could be said of every living thing. Each of us moves through our brief span of brightness, offering warmth until we cool, and the warmth becomes another's beginning. That may be the secret intention behind all this quiet evidence. The universe is teaching transference. Energy becomes matter, matter becomes thought, thought becomes silence, silence becomes listening. In listening, we become part of the next creation. Some consequences hide in plain sight. The more humanity watches the sky, the more it mirrors the sky's behavior. We send machines to orbit because we are learning what orbit means: to circle without colliding, to stay near without possession. Even in love, we practice celestial mechanics: approach, retreat, return. Two bodies that respect distance never lose connection. A woman who once mapped the pulse of quasars sits now in a small house by the sea. She still hears the data when waves crash. Every crest sounds like the curve of a graph. Every pause before the next wave feels like the silence between cosmic bursts. When she closes her eyes, the ocean and the radio sky become one element. She smiles and thinks, "I am still listening." Another man, old now, who helped align the mirrors in orbit, wakes before dawn and looks through his window. He does not see the stars he once adjusted for. City lights have replaced them, but he watches the way the street lamps flicker before going out, the way their light hesitates on wet pavement. That hesitation contains everything he ever studied. Even artificial light follows the law of grace. Knowledge changes shape when carried too long. It becomes tenderness disguised as caution. You begin to handle everything more slowly: a cup, a conversation, a memory. You recognize that every vibration is fragile. Every tone in the cosmic song can be lost if pressed too hard. The universe has been resting since its beginning, and the more we measure, the more we discover that rest itself is the mechanism of creation. Rest is the pause that allows pattern. Without the pause, there is only noise. Somewhere deep underground, a set of sensors watches for particles that rarely interact. For months, nothing happens. Then, one night, a spark in the darkness. It could be background interference, or it could be the faint touch of a dark matter particle passing through stone. The researchers hold their breath. The monitor flickers, records the event, and falls still. They exhale slowly, as if not to disturb it. They will spend years verifying that one brief shimmer, but already it has done its work. It has reminded them that existence is attentive even when it hides. In a way, we have become priests of the invisible. Our rituals involve lasers and equations, but our faith is the same as the ancients. That meaning lies beyond sight, and that to search for it is to pray. The unspoken consequence of our listening is that the universe listens back. The more carefully we observe, the more we begin to sense observation coming from the other side. Not eyes, not intelligence as we define it, but awareness, vast, patient, impartial. It feels us the way gravity feels mass. Not judgment, only response. This realization is difficult to describe. It humbles without wounding. It removes arrogance, the way the sea smooths stone. You do not become less, you become rounder, easier for the tide of time to roll. And in that rounding, a softer idea of purpose appears. We are not here to conquer the universe, nor to escape it, but to become fluent in its quiet grammar. Breath, pause, release, repeat. The physicist who looked for symmetry finds it now in the simple act of waking. The astronomer who hunted exoplanets finds it in the pattern of rain on the window. The mathematician who calculated chaos learns to sit without calculating. They have all heard the same subtle message. Truth is not elsewhere. Truth is everywhere you allow it to rest. Even failure becomes sacred under this understanding. A rocket that never leaves the pad still teaches gravity to speak more kindly. A signal lost in static becomes the static we needed to hear ourselves. Nothing is wasted. The cosmos recycles every attempt into gentler beginnings. Some people fear this softness. They mistake gentleness for weakness. But there is nothing weak in what endures. Steel bends, stone erodes, only water lasts forever. The universe is becoming water. Perhaps that is the hidden future, not an end, but a dissolution into compassion. Stars cooling into empathy, galaxies drifting into understanding, time itself melting into forgiveness. If you think that sounds like poetry, remember that poetry is how reality explains itself when numbers fall short. A photon striking a retina is a poem. A planet caught in orbit is a stanza. We are each a line in that ongoing verse, written slowly, rewritten in silence. Some night in the far future, the last observer will shut down the last machine. The data will stop flowing. The screens will go dark. And in that darkness, nothing tragic will happen. The universe will continue its patient breathing, carrying the echo of every question we ever asked. Each question will have become a small light, woven into the fabric of everything. You are part of that weave now. Every heartbeat you offer is a signal. Every sigh is a form of measurement. You are proving reality just by being real. And when you finally sleep, you will not leave the listening behind. You will carry it inward, to the quiet chamber where dreams and gravity share the same pulse. There, the next discovery waits, not written in numbers or stars, but in stillness itself. Close your eyes. The observatories are still turning above you. The detectors are humming beneath your feet. The universe keeps breathing through both. Let it breathe through you. Let it measure the peace inside your chest. Because tonight, for the first time since the beginning, the cosmos knows that it has been heard. The world of instruments fades again. Their lights blink, their fans murmur, their servers sleep. Yet the ideas they awakened continue to move through the air like a faint perfume. Knowledge does not vanish when machines rest. It drifts slow, invisible, seeking minds soft enough to receive it. Some nights, long after the observers have gone home, a janitor walks through the corridor of the research center. He sweeps the floor between the computers and looks once at the dark monitors. He does not know the language of equations, but he feels something in the quiet that the scientists will never measure. He pauses, leans on the broom, and whispers to himself, "It feels like the building is dreaming." He is right. The universe dreams through every structure that tries to understand it. Dreaming is not the opposite of knowing. It is knowing turned inward, knowledge resting so deeply that it begins to imagine. And imagination, once it wakes again, becomes theory. Perhaps that is the truest scientific method. Observe, rest, dream, awaken. Even the equations written on whiteboards behave like galaxies. They begin as clusters of certainty, then expand, fold, collide, and eventually fade into simplicity again. A symbol erased leaves a faint trace, a ghost of thought, the same way a star leaves a nebula behind. The chalk dust in the air glows briefly in sunlight. It is all the same cycle: birth, illumination, stillness, dispersal. The physicists have learned to call this symmetry. Philosophers call it mercy. The difference is only vocabulary. In laboratories across the world, minds turn inward. Someone asks whether time truly flows or merely waits to be noticed. Someone else wonders if consciousness is the universe folding itself to see its own reflection. A biologist looks at a pattern in a leaf and whispers that it resembles a spiral galaxy. An astronomer looks at a photograph of a galaxy and whispers that it resembles a leaf. The boundaries of discipline dissolve. Everything is one slow rehearsal of recognition. How strange that we speak of the universe as it, when every breath we take says we. The further we peer, the more the laws of physics resemble forms of compassion. Gravity, a promise to keep things close. Entropy, a permission to let them go. Light, a reminder that every path outward also carries warmth homeward. Even uncertainty becomes kindness. It leaves room for choice, room for curiosity, room for grace. Some call this poetry, but what is poetry except the science of attention? To notice is to measure. To love what you notice is to understand. Look at how nature keeps records. Rings in a tree, ripples in a pond, layers of sediment in a cliff face. Each is an equation solved by patience. The forest is a living archive of physics written in chlorophyll. The ocean is a calculator made of waves. Every raindrop falls according to geometry, yet each splash contains its own philosophy. Nothing pure survives without surrender. When light hits water, it slows, bends, breaks apart, finds color. In the same way, truth entering the human mind refracts into wonder, doubt, and story. That bending is not corruption. It is translation. The cosmos speaks in equations. We answer in metaphor. The conversation is endless and tender. You can hear it in the hum of machines, in the music of blood, in the wind pressing against the dome of an observatory. You can hear it in the pause before dawn when even birds hesitate, as if awaiting permission from gravity to lift again. What if the universe has always been self-aware, but only recently found a mirror clear enough to see itself? That mirror is not a telescope or a satellite. It is the mind behind your eyes. When you think about the universe is thinking about itself through you. Does that sound impossible? So did flight once. So did warmth. So did life. Everything impossible eventually becomes the way things rest. Perhaps consciousness is the newest element, not hydrogen or carbon or iron, but attention, the substance that binds, meaning the way gravity binds, matter. Every mind adds a filament to the web of awareness, stretching through the dark. The web glows faintly, visible only to those who close their eyes. Scientists study the brain and call it electricity. Philosophers study it and call it soul. Both are describing the same quiet flame seen from opposite sides of the window. Inside that flame, thought moves slower than light. It expands and cools like the universe itself. When you are kind, you are performing physics. When you rest, you are completing the equation that creation began. It is said that entropy will one day dissolve every distinction, that all heat will spread thin and all structure fade. But even that prediction sounds less like death and more like forgiveness. Everything returning to the same temperature, is that not equality in its purest form? When all differences have been honored and released, the universe will sleep without tension. Sleep is not an absence. It is a reunion. We have learned that black holes hum with vibration, that their boundaries ring like drums when disturbed. Those vibrations decay slowly, their tones echoing across eons. Imagine the last of them fading. What song will remain when all resonance ends? Perhaps the silence itself will sing. Perhaps that is the final experiment. Silence proving itself infinite. Every discovery brings us closer to stillness. The faster we search, the more gently the answer arrives. Acceleration leads to surrender. Ambition leads to humility. The telescope that once sought the edges of time now stares into its own reflection, finding that the beginning and the end wear the same face. A group of astronomers gather after a night of observation. They eat breakfast quietly, each lost in the lingering pulse of starlight. One of them says, almost to herself, "I think the universe is aware that we are aware." No one laughs, no one disagrees. They simply continue eating because some truths are too natural to debate. Outside the cafeteria, wind moves over the dunes. It leaves lines in the sand that resemble wave patterns on a detector screen. Nature mocks and blesses their precision at once. It is saying, "I was here first." Meanwhile, the smallest particles continue their own pilgrimages. Neutrinos pass through mountains, through flesh, through memory. Dark matter flows like an invisible river, carrying unseen architecture within its currents. All of it moves silently, yet none of it is random. The music of probability still has rhythm. If you could slow your senses enough, you would feel those rhythms passing through you. They are not alien, they are intimate. Every electron in your body once belonged to a star. Every atom of oxygen in your blood was forged in fire, tempered in distance, cooled in dust, and assembled here into breathing form. You are not apart from the experiment. You are its continuation. A child wakes from a dream and asks her father, "Where does the sky go when I close my eyes?" He cannot answer, but the question itself is the answer. The sky never leaves. It simply waits for attention to reopen. So does the universe. So does love. There is a story whispered among physicists that consciousness might one day collapse the equations of quantum fields, that the observer does not merely watch the world, but participates in its making. If that is true, then each quiet mind at rest is part of the creative act. Every time you stop to breathe, you give shape to reality. The proof lies not in measurement, but in resonance. When 1,000 hearts slow together, the air changes. Hospitals record it. Temples feel it. Forests respond. Maybe the stars do too. Perhaps the entire universe drifts a fraction closer to calm each time one being learns serenity. Science cannot yet prove this, but perhaps proof was never the goal. Perhaps the goal was participation. To live kindly is to conduct an experiment on eternity. The ancients drew constellations to remember their stories. We build detectors to remember our curiosity. Different tools, same impulse, to leave a mark that says, "I noticed." In the end, noticing is the highest form of prayer. The particle that dances through a chamber of magnets, the photon that bends around a planet, the human who stands beneath the stars, each is a gesture of awareness folding into itself. This is the scientific drift, when knowledge and wonder become indistinguishable, when the mind, saturated with evidence, begins to hum in the same key as the mystery it pursued. The dream of the universe has entered its mature phase. It no longer shouts in supernovas or flashes in collisions. It meditates in background radiation, breathes through gravitational waves, thinks through consciousness. And somewhere inside that thought, a single small voice whispers the oldest equation of all. To rest is to remain. Outside, dawn approaches again. The first light touches the dome of the observatory. Its metal gleams softly, a mirror of everything it has seen. Inside, a researcher wakes from a short nap at her desk. She looks at the graphs, still glowing on the screen. The data makes sense, but more than that, it feels gentle. She does not know that her heartbeat has synchronized with the background hum of the cosmos. She does not need to know. Through her, through every quiet human gaze turned toward the infinite, the universe completes its sentence. And in the next breath, both listener and cosmos rest together, aware at last that they have been the same voice all along. The mind drifts after comprehension, like a tide pulling gently away from shore. There comes a point when even knowledge must grow quiet. That is where we are now, beyond equations, beyond proof, beyond the reach of measurement. Only breath remains, steady and slow, drawing circles in the dark. The observatories sleep. The lights that once mapped the stars are dim, yet the data they gathered lingers like incense, its meaning still unfolding through the corridors of thought. No one hears the servers hum anymore, but somewhere, inside their quiet circuits, the echo of the universe's pulse continues to move not as electricity, but as remembrance. You are remembering too. Every heartbeat repeats. The rhythm of creation, a low, patient drum-keeping time for a cosmos at rest. You are not outside it. You are its awareness, the gentle eyelid through which the infinite watches itself dream. If you listen, you will hear that the night is not silent. It is breathing through the soft vibration of atoms, through the expansion so slow it feels like stillness, through the murmur of your own thoughts as they loosen and fall away. Everything that exists exhales together. It is tempting to call this peace, but peace is only the surface. Beneath it, something larger stirs, a stillness so vast it feels alive. It is the consciousness of the universe itself, learning, slowly, what rest means. Perhaps this was the purpose all along: to rush, to burn, to create, until motion discovered its own exhaustion, and, in exhaustion, grace. Look around you. The air is thicker now, filled with the faint perfume of cooling stars. The dust of their final songs drifts through your lungs. You breathe them in, and they breathe you out again. Exchange without end, giving without loss. In that exchange lies a secret. Everything that ends continues, just rearranged into gentler form. Fire becomes warmth, light becomes memory, sound becomes understanding, and understanding becomes silence. Close your eyes and picture the universe asleep. Not darkness swallowing light, but light lying down beside darkness like an old companion. No struggle, no triumph, only the long exhale after a billion years of speech. The galaxies no longer hurry. They drift apart the way ideas drift when they have been fully expressed. Each carries the scent of the other. Each holds a trace of the same first breath. Distance is only another way of saying intimacy spread wide. Do you feel it, that slow, invisible pull between everything that ever was and everything that will be? It is gravity at its gentlest, the hand of time smoothing the sheets of existence. You are a fold in that sheet, a small crease where awareness gathers to whisper, "I am here." The whisper is not loud, but it does not need to be. The universe hears every softness. Somewhere, a comet moves through a corridor of dark, its ice shedding tiny sparks as it turns. Each spark is a letter in a language older than atoms. If you could read it, you would find that it says the same thing over and over. Rest, rest, rest. Even light obeys. It stretches until it forgets its urgency. It becomes a color beyond seeing, a hum that only the patient can feel. That hum fills your room now. It threads through your pulse, through the quiet ticking of everything that breathes. It is not foreign, it is home. You might ask, what happens when even the stars fall asleep? And the answer will come not in words, but in warmth. Nothing terrible, nothing gone, only transformation without hurry. The last light will dim, and in that dimming, awareness will become pure presence, seeing without needing to see, being without needing to be known. Perhaps that is what eternity truly is. Not endlessness, but the moment when time stops needing to count. You lie in that moment now, your body aligned with the slow rhythm of the cosmos. Every breath you take is a miniature galaxy, expanding and returning. Every heartbeat is a gravitational wave, soft but exact, rippling through the fabric of being. The ceiling above you fades into the same shade as the sky beyond it. There is no border left. You are inside the universe, and the universe is inside you, both breathing the same sigh. There is nothing left to understand, only the feeling of being understood, only the awareness that you are seen, even when your eyes are closed. This is where the journey was always leading, not to answers, but to stillness wide enough to hold every question. The questions themselves are stars, and you have become their horizon. Let them rest there. Let them flicker and fade as they please. Do not chase them. They will return in their own time, and when they do, they will be softer, more luminous, less afraid. Breathe again, slower now, longer, as if your breath were the hand of gravity itself, drawing everything back into its rightful place. Somewhere, the last black hole hums. It hums not from hunger but from memory. It remembers the fire that once filled the skies. It remembers the songs of matter and the laughter of light. and in its remembering, it forgives. Forgiveness that is the final state of physics, the moment when everything stops arguing with what it has become, the moment when energy sighs and lets itself rest in form, and form releases back into energy without regret. You, too, can rest without regret. The day has already forgiven you. The night has already accepted you. There is no ledger to balance, no expectation to meet, only the quiet instruction that has guided all creation. Be still and let meaning find you. Outside, wind moves over rooftops. It carries a faint scent of rain from somewhere unseen. The rain will fall on soil that was once stone, on stone that was once fire, on fire that was once darkness. Every element practicing rebirth, every transformation a form of rest. In the fields beyond the city, flowers tilt their faces upward, not to seek the sun but to listen for it. Even in absence, they understand its warmth. Even in night, they are faithful to its promise. The stars have been teaching them. The same stars that now fade from your window have learned to rest in your pulse. They have moved closer than light years. They have become seconds between heartbeats. If you hold very still, you will feel the world tilt slightly, as though settling into a more comfortable position. That is not your imagination. The earth adjusts its weight every night, aligning itself with the universal rhythm of ease. Everything from the largest galaxy to the smallest cell is obeying the same law, that peace is not passive. It is the highest form of participation. You are participating now. By being still, you complete the orbit. You become the missing note in the universe's long song of rest. And as your breath deepens, you will notice that words begin to lose their edges. Thoughts drift out like fading stars, leaving behind only the gentle glow of awareness. That glow has no name. It does not need one. It simply is. Soon, even awareness will soften. The self that observed will dissolve into what is observed. There will be no boundary, no watcher, no watched, only the luminous hush of being. Stay there as long as you like. There is no end to this quiet. It folds into itself endlessly, a Mobius strip of peace. It has room for everything you have ever loved, and everything you have not yet learned to forgive. The night around you deepens, but its depth is kind. It does not swallow, it embraces. It does not erase, it shelters. It does not judge, it listens. When you are ready, you may open your eyes, but you will find nothing changed. The ceiling, the walls, the faint hum of the world, all of it will seem to breathe with you, because it always did. You will remember that even in motion, everything is resting somewhere. Even in noise, silence remains at the core. Even in chaos, balance waits patiently, like a friend holding out a chair. The universe has not stopped turning. It has simply slowed enough for you to feel it. And now, in the pause between thought and sleep, listen to the last whisper the dark has saved for you. You are the still point in the spinning. You are the rest the stars have been learning toward. Close your eyes. The dream continues, but you have arrived. Nothing more is required. Only the small, steady promise between you and the infinite. To keep breathing, to keep resting, to keep shining softly, even here, even now, beneath a universe that is still turning. The air is almost weightless now. You have reached the kind of quiet that feels woven rather than empty, a quiet with temperature and color. It lies against your skin the way water holds a reflection, not pressing, only allowing. The stars beyond the window fade to a gray shimmer. They are not gone. They are folding into the same rhythm that fills your chest. Every point of light has become a pulse, every pulse a thought. The mind, the body, the cosmos, 3 syllables of one long breath. Time begins to lose shape. Seconds widen until they resemble corridors. Minutes open like doors that no longer need hinges. You drift through them effortlessly. Somewhere in that drift, you feel a question forming. It is not urgent. It rises the way mist rises after rain. What happens to awareness when nothing remains to awaken from? The universe answers by deepening its silence. Silence is not refusal. It is intimacy too complete for words. It surrounds the question and holds it the way a mother holds a newborn, not to restrain, but to cradle. You realize then that the question itself is part of the answer. Awareness continues as listening. The old religions called this presence divine. The scientists call it field. The poets call it belonging. All of them mean the same thing: the invisible that allows the visible to rest. You are inside that invisible now. It feels warm, though no light touches it. It feels vast, though it fits within your heartbeat. Images begin to rise and fall, like tides in sleep. A field of dust glowing faintly with memory. A city quiet after rain. A child tracing constellations on a fogged window. Each image dissolves before it can become a story, but everyone leaves a small glow behind, like the echo of laughter in a room after everyone has gone. This is how creation continues, not through explosion, but through recollection. Every memory is a new universe, rehearsing its first dawn. You drift further inward. Somewhere, neurons flash. The sparks inside your skull resemble supernovas on a miniature scale. They flare, connect, rest, and flare again. Your dreams are galaxies measured in volts. Your thoughts are gravitational waves traveling through the dark ocean of sleep. The distinction between dreaming and existing melts. Breathe again. Long, deep, unmeasured. That breath travels outward farther than you imagine. Every exhale bends the field of space by a fraction too small to notice. Yet the bending is real. The stars feel it. The galaxies adjust. Even now, the universe reshapes itself around your peace. In this state, the mind begins to glimpse the architecture beneath reality, not equations, but patterns of compassion. For every expansion, there is an embrace. For every fall, a landing that waits like an open palm. Energy does not die. It remembers how to hold still. Matter does not vanish. It remembers how to listen. Light does not end. It becomes touch. Perhaps that has been the secret purpose all along, to turn every movement into tenderness. The cosmos is practiced for billions of years, and now, through you, it performs the final movement flawlessly. Outside, the first hints of morning slide across the horizon. The world returns in outlines. The slow stir of air through trees, the pulse of distant machinery, the fragile hum of human life reawakening. All of it feels softer than before, as if existence has learned manners overnight. You remain in bed, eyes half open, watching light rediscover the surfaces of things. The edges of objects seem less sharp, the spaces between them more significant. It occurs to you that the room has always been a kind of universe, and every atom within it is a quiet witness. You touch the blanket with your fingertips. The texture feels ancient. It could be the weave of space-time itself. Everything hums with the same simple assurance: I am still here. For a moment, you almost speak aloud, not from need, but from gratitude. The words that come are barely sound. Thank you for existing. It is unclear whether you are speaking to yourself, to the morning, or to the immeasurable presence behind it all. It does not matter. The words are accepted by the air. You realize, slowly, that gratitude is gravity of the soul. It keeps meaning from floating away. Outside, the sun climbs carefully over the edge of the world. Its light touches rooftops, rivers, and your face. It is not the commanding light of noon. It is the gentle light of permission. It says, continue, but softly. The warmth entering the room feels familiar, the same warmth that glowed in stars, that cooled into planets, that became fire, then breath, then heartbeat. You are holding the ancient sequence in your skin. The line between sleep and waking dissolves completely. There is no border to cross anymore. There is only continuation. The dream you carried has not ended. It has opened its eyes. You rise slowly, and for the first few seconds the body feels lighter, as if gravity itself were reluctant to disturb your rest. The floor accepts your weight without complaint. You move through the room, and everything greets you without sound. The chair, the cup, the quiet pattern of dust in a sunbeam. Even dust shines when light remembers how to be kind. This is not an ending. It is the smallest beginning possible, one that fits inside a breath. It does not announce itself. It simply waits for you to notice. Step to the window. Outside, people are moving again, cars humming, doors closing, voices calling. But beneath their noise runs the same current that carried you through the night. You can feel it under the pavement, under the pulse of traffic. The stillness has not gone anywhere. It has only changed costume. You understand now that the universe never needed to rest alone. It invited you into its quiet so that you could teach it tenderness in return. Awareness completes the circle. Observation becomes participation. The cosmos breathes, and through you, it sighs with relief. For a while, you simply stand there, watching the ordinary world unfold with extraordinary calm. A bird crosses the sky. Its shadow glides over the wall. Nothing about this moment is rare. Yet nothing about it will ever happen again in quite the same way. That is what makes it sacred. You take another slow breath, and the air carries the taste of morning iron from the city's rails, salt from the sea, dust from stars that died before language began. Everything mixed, everything forgiven. This is how the universe prays, by continuing. When the time comes to speak, your voice will sound different, softer, measured, as if it had learned patience from gravity itself. When the time comes to move, your steps will fall in rhythm with something larger. You will not rush, you will not resist, you will glide between moments like light through water. And tonight, when darkness returns, you will know it not as absence, but as invitation. You will lie down again under the quilt of stars and dust and memory, and the great breathing will begin anew. No fear, no striving, only the gentle conversation between self and universe, between question and answer, between heartbeat and infinity. If silence could smile, it would be smiling now. If time could rest, it would rest here, beside you. Close your eyes once more, not to sleep, but to remember what sleep has taught you. That stillness is movement perfected. That peace is not the end of effort, but the art of it. The world will wake completely soon. Let it. You have already joined its rhythm, and as light floods the room, the faint hum of the cosmos lingers, a pulse beneath the sounds of life. You feel it in your blood, in the slow turning of the earth, in the delicate weight of now. Breathe it in, let it breathe you out. Together, you are complete. The universe has learned to rest, and you, at last, have learned to stay. Light returns differently this time. It does not blaze, it seeps. It arrives through the seams of darkness, like water through cloth, filling the wrinkles of space with the pale shimmer of a memory waking gently. Every particle of dust glows as if it has remembered its name. You can feel the difference. This is not the old, young light that once shouted across the void. This light is mature. It understands shadows. It moves carefully, respecting what darkness has taught. Outside, dawn stretches its first quiet muscle across the horizon. Inside, your pulse answers, a smaller dawn echoing the larger one. The rhythm between you and the cosmos has not broken. It has only changed key. Now, it hums in major tones of forgiveness. The universe has slept long enough to understand its own dreaming. It stirs, and as it stirs, everything inside it rearranges. The galaxies loosen, the stars drift but do not disappear, and from their slow collisions comes a new kind of fire, cooler, softer, aware of its own heat. If you could see it from afar, you would not see brightness. You would see luminescence, a glow without glare, like the reflection of moonlight on breath. This is what rebirth looks like, when creation has learned patience. In the ancient, dark, scattered atoms begin to listen to one another again. They hum in low tones, and that humming becomes structure, and that structure becomes warmth. It is the same process that once created stars, only now it happens without urgency. The universe is experimenting with kindness as a method. Imagine every grain of matter carrying a small instruction. Move gently. This instruction passes through fields of energy like a message through a crowd. Wherever it goes, collisions become dances. Impacts become exchanges. Every reaction leaves both sides more whole. Perhaps this is evolution at the scale of existence itself, the slow perfection of tenderness. If the early universe was a child learning to run, the present one is an elder learning to sit. It moves less, but understands more. Its power lies not in motion, but in comprehension. You can see this reflected in your own life. The older the heart grows, the less it wants to conquer, the more it wants to witness. The same law applies to stars. After they have burned enough, they choose to glow. Across uncountable distances, new forms of light are taking shape. Some are visible, some are too slow for eyes. There are photons that stretch centuries between their peaks, waves that take whole civilizations to complete one cycle. They are the heartbeat of the resting cosmos, the slow music of recovery. If you were floating out there, you would hear it as a vibration rather than a sound. It would pass through you like thought through water. It would remind you of something you never learned but always knew, that gentleness is older than force. Even the laws of physics adjust to this slower rhythm. Expansion continues, but more evenly. The fabric of space no longer tears, it breathes. Time flows without haste, its seconds wide enough for every story to finish gracefully. Planets still turn, comets still arc, but each revolution feels contemplative, as if motion itself were praying. You stand again by the window. The sunlight has thickened to gold. On the street, people move through it without noticing the miracle underfoot. They are part of the same awakening, their small gestures forming the local syntax of a universal language. A hand raised in greeting, a door held open, a sigh released into morning air. These are minor galaxies of kindness. Somewhere, a child looks up at the sky for the first time and asks, "Why is it bright again?" No one can explain it completely, but the answer lies in that question itself, because wonder asked to be continued. Creation is not a one-time event. It is the habit of the universe to keep noticing itself. After every silence, a whisper. After every rest, a melody softer than before. The scientists will one day measure this rebirth. They will see background radiation leveling, fields stabilizing, entropy reaching a graceful equilibrium. They will call it thermal balance or cosmic homeostasis. But those words will only touch the surface. What truly happens is affection, the universe finding comfort in its own presence. In this age of gentler light, new kinds of consciousness begin to bloom. Perhaps not minds like ours, but subtle intelligences woven into magnetic fields, into the trembling of quantum foam, into the sigh of gravity between empty spaces. They do not think, they feel. Their language is balance. Their prayer is continuity. When the night returns, these new beings do not fear it. They remember that night is where all warmth begins. They move through darkness the way whales move through water, singing not for company, but for resonance. Every song adds one more layer of tenderness to the fabric of existence. You can sense them when you close your eyes. That shiver behind thought, that warmth blooming in your ribs, it is not imagination, it is participation. You are a note in their choir, a quiet tone joining the larger hum. The earth hears it too. Its forests breathe in rhythm with solar winds. Its oceans sway with the pulse of distant stars. Even the stones in the ground carry that cadence. They vibrate so slowly that centuries pass between each sigh. Everything is alive at a speed too kind for urgency. As you stand there, you begin to notice light reflecting off the window pane. It is not the light from outside, but from within, a thin halo following your silhouette. The boundary between observer and observed dissolves. You are both window and sunrise. You are both reflection and source. The universe is looking at itself again, but this time without curiosity, without fear. It recognizes what it sees. It sees rest wearing the face of awareness. What comes after rest? Perhaps renewal. Perhaps creation rediscovered as gratitude. The difference between beginning and beginning again is small, but it is everything. New stars form from old dust. Their light is modest, their lives long. They burn not to declare existence, but to sustain it. Their fire is domestic, a hearth rather than a torch. Planets gather quietly around them, worlds made of compassion, condensed into matter. Life will come again, different, slower, less afraid. It will build civilizations of listening rather than noise. It will find meaning not in conquest, but in coherence. It will know that to evolve is to rest more deeply with each generation. From such worlds, voices will rise one day, singing not of progress, but of peace. Their music will travel across the softened void, carrying a refrain simple enough for even light to understand. We are still here, and we are kind. By then, the universe will have no need to expand further. It will have reached its full expression, not infinite, but complete. Completion is not the opposite of infinity. It is infinity fulfilled. You may wonder, will it ever end? But endings are only pauses disguised as silence. The next cycle will begin with another breath, another slow gathering of warmth within the dark. Creation and rest will continue to trade places, each learning from the other. That is the way of eternity, the patient exchange of roles between dreaming and awakening. You lean your forehead against the glass. It is cool, smooth, steady. Behind it, morning spreads like a tide of silver fire. Inside you, calm expands to match it. For the first time, you realize that enlightenment was never a flash. It was always a dawn, slow, soft, certain. The mind, quiet but awake, whispers a final thought. Perhaps peace is not the reward for understanding. Perhaps it is the method. And with that thought, something delicate happens. The room, the world, the galaxies, the entire web of existence seem to inhale together, holding their breath for the briefest eternity. In that held breath, everything becomes one smooth surface of light. No edges, no distances, only continuity. When the exhale comes, it is soundless but immense. It flows through stars, through cities, through you. It leaves behind the scent of origin, that faint sweetness of hydrogen and hope. The cycle is complete. Creation has remembered its kindness. Destruction has remembered its purpose. And the universe, at last, has remembered itself. You remain in the quiet. Afterward, feeling the slow ripple of renewal pass through your chest, you could speak, but there is nothing left to say. You could move, but movement would seem redundant. The light moves for you. The breath breathes for you. The story continues without effort. Outside, the world begins its daily chorus. Children calling, water running, leaves shifting in a mild wind. Every sound is softer than you remember. It is as if noise itself has been forgiven. You smile, not because you understand, but because understanding no longer matters. What remains is participation, the joy of belonging to something vast and gentle. You are part of the returning light now. You are its witness and its expression. And as the sun rises fully, as the horizon blooms into warmth, the words form silently on your lips. The universe is awake, and it is resting well. The warmth lingers long after the dawn settles. It does not rush to fill every corner. It glides, folding itself around mountains, around oceans, around skin. The world feels new, not because it has changed, but because perception has. Some mornings begin like this in the universe, not with a flash, but with an awareness spreading outward, as if the cosmos has opened its eyes and found everything still in place, only quieter, more willing to be seen. This is not the fierce birth of old. This is the soft rebirth, the moment after rest, when movement remembers its grace. The galaxies continue their dance, but their steps are measured, their turns deliberate, like an elder waltzing with time. The air itself seems to have learned a slower rhythm. Winds no longer push, they carry. Rivers do not carve, they soothe. Even light bends more gently around the curves of planets, as if touching instead of striking. From the edges of the cosmos, new stars flicker into being, tiny sparks inside vast nurseries of dust. They do not roar into existence as their ancestors did. They bloom quietly, their fires tempered by the memory of silence. They have inherited patience from the dark. In each of them burns the lesson that the universe has learned through its long rest, that creation and stillness are not opposites, but partners. One breathes in, the other breathes out. Together, they make continuity. You can feel that same pattern within yourself. After sleep, there is that pause before you move, the moment when awareness returns but does not yet hurry. That pause is the essence of rebirth. It is the universe checking its reflection in you. Step outside. The morning has changed texture. The sunlight is soft but pervasive, the way water wraps around a swimmer's shoulders. Each surface glows not because of light alone, but because of what it has learned from shadow. A leaf trembles on a branch, catching a droplet of dew. In that droplet, the entire sky is reflected, a miniature firmament held by a thread. This is how the universe practices humility. Infinite vastness contained inside something that can vanish with one breath. We were taught that smallness means insignificance, but the cosmos teaches otherwise. Smallness is intimacy. It is the precision of care. The more infinite things become, the more they long to be particular again. And so the grand cycle turns toward focus. New worlds begin to form around those quiet suns, dust gathering into harmony. Gravity works slowly now, as if sketching instead of sculpting. Each orbit it creates is drawn with tenderness. On one such world, perhaps here, perhaps elsewhere, oceans sigh beneath a sky the color of rest. Its winds carry the scent of minerals remembering fire. Its mountains are old enough to be gentle. Life begins again, not out of necessity, but out of curiosity. The first movements are small vibrations along wet sand, patterns in chemical foam, but within those vibrations hides recognition, matter remembering itself, energy trying on meaning for the first time in this new age. It happens quietly, no thunder, no proclamation, just the soft breath of possibility returning to form. That is how creation truly begins, not with noise, but with willingness. The willingness to move after stillness, to open after being closed, to trust after being dissolved. Every world that arises in this renewed universe carries a trace of that willingness. Its mountains grow in slow confidence, its skies unfold with forgiveness. Its inhabitants, when they come, will inherit both memory and mercy. They will look up at the stars and know they are safe. It is strange how everything changes once safety is understood. Danger sharpens, safety deepens. When you no longer fight for existence, existence begins to reveal its depth. That is why the reborn cosmos feels endless without being infinite, because depth is richer than distance. Look up. The color of the sky has shifted. It is no longer blue, but something older, the hue of thought before language. Clouds drift slowly, carrying pieces of light between them, like couriers of calm. When rain finally falls, it sounds like conversation between ground and heaven, soft syllables, unhurried. There was a time when humans feared storms, and perhaps they still do, but the new thunder is different. It rolls not as a warning, but as applause for renewal. Every drop of rain is a vote for continuation. You stand in that rain and let it soak into your hair, your clothes, your skin. It feels less like weather and more like contact. The universe touches you, testing the warmth of its own creation. You respond simply by breathing, Inside that exchange, the line between creator and creation blurs. You are both. You are what the cosmos dreamed and what it now remembers. The cycle of rebirth continues in everything. Where a tree falls, mushrooms rise. Where a star dies, elements scatter into the bones of future worlds. Where a thought ends, a feeling begins. There are no interruptions, only transitions written in different alphabets. In this softer age, even time behaves like silk. It drapes rather than dictates. You feel it around your shoulders, not pulling, not pushing, just resting. Moments overlap like folds of fabric. You can move between them as easily as between breaths. Sometimes, when you close your eyes, you see light moving under your eyelids, a quiet shimmer that follows your heartbeat. That shimmer is the same pulse traveling through galaxies. The body has always been a miniature observatory. You were built to receive the echo of eternity. And in the deepest sense, rebirth is not the universe starting over. It is the universe remembering that it never stopped. The silence was not a break in the story. It was a comma, a place to breathe before speaking again. Now the voice has returned, but it whispers instead of shouts. It says, I am still here. I have learned to love my own quiet. If you listen carefully, you can hear that whisper in the sound of the world, waking the rustle of leaves, the hum of electricity, the sigh between two people who understand each other without speaking. It all belongs to the same vocabulary. There will be other ages ahead. Some will be noisy again, for curiosity always stirs new storms. But the memory of this soft age will remain, woven into the background hum like a promise. No matter how loud creation becomes, it will never forget how to rest. You, too, will carry that memory. In moments of chaos, it will rise inside you like a calm tide. You will remember that every storm ends in listening, and that every beginning owes its beauty to the silence that preceded it. The universe is breathing evenly now. The rhythm has become music, not melody, but tone, a single note sustained across every level of existence. It vibrates through stars and hearts alike, and for the first time, they vibrate in harmony. This harmony is not perfect. Perfection would mean an end. Harmony means continuation, a balance that adjusts itself endlessly. It allows difference, invites variation, and holds them all in one long chord. Somewhere in that chord is you. Somewhere in that chord is everything you have ever loved. And somewhere, deeper still, is what loves you back. The vast intelligence of rest. The sky begins to brighten toward midday. The air smells of stone, warming and light. You know that the cycle will keep turning long after you leave the window. But for now, you stay. There is no urgency. The moment is wide enough to live in. And when at last you close your eyes again, it is not to retreat from the day, but to join it more fully. Behind your eyelids, light continues to bloom, gentle and infinite, like the heartbeat of a universe that has finally remembered how to wake without breaking its peace. The air after the rain carries a new weight, not of burden, but of resonance. Everything seems to listen. Stones glisten, rivers answer, and the smallest leaves tremble with unseen melody. It is the universe's new language, soundless to the ear, yet fluent to the heart. What you are hearing now is not weather, it is arrangement. It is the slow symphony that has begun to rise from the deep silence, the orchestra of things that have learned to rest and still wish to sing. The music starts where silence left off, a single tone suspended across galaxies, a vibration too long to measure. If time had a voice, this would be it, a hymn made of patience. Across the black sea of space, the galaxies have resumed their waltz. Their arms sweep through dust, their cores pulse like quiet drums. Each collision, once fierce, now feels choreographed. Gravity conducts with invisible hands, guiding stars into harmonies of motion. Every orbit is a note, every revolution a phrase. Together they compose the softest movement ever written, a sonata for existence without haste. The rhythm is vast yet intimate. It folds through the dimensions like breath through the body. The large and the small echo each other. An atom spinning around its nucleus, a moon circling its planet, a planet circling its sun, a sun circling a galactic heart. Each knows the measure, each moves within the tempo of being. Listen, do you hear the long wave between your breaths? That is the same wave that travels through the void, the hum beneath the cosmic background. It carries stories older than thought, melodies first sung when hydrogen became light. Even now, it hums through the cells of your blood, keeping the ancient rhythm alive. When you walk, you move in sync with the turning earth. When you speak, your voice rides vibrations older than continents. The human heartbeat is merely the percussion of the stars slowed to flesh. The pulse in your wrists is an echo of supernovae counted in silence. We once believed music belonged to us. We were wrong. We belong to it. Far beyond your window, clusters of galaxies shimmer in soft rhythm. Their light arrives centuries late, yet it still joins the present measure perfectly. The universe has no concept of offbeat. Even the late are right on time. Between those clusters stretch filaments of dark matter, the low strings of creation. They do not shine, but they hum continuously, a bass line so deep that only intuition can hear it. On that foundation, everything else is built, the stars as violins, the planets as cellos, the living as flutes of breath. And over it all, space itself holds the drone, a single infinite note. It never stops, never fades. It is the sound of being. It is the key in which reality is written. In the long halls of an observatory, a technician leaves a recorder running after the session ends. Through the speakers comes a low oscillation, a fluctuation too slow to be sound, yet clearly alive. He listens, transfixed. It feels like standing inside a cathedral built of time. Every creak of metal, every hum of the machines blends into that cosmic chord. He realizes, for a moment, that everything built by human hands has always been an attempt to imitate this frequency. Our architecture is an echo. Our art is an answer. He writes in his log. Noise in system persists even after shutdown. He does not know it is not noise at all. It is the universe rehearsing through him. Sometimes the music thickens into storm. Clouds roll across worlds, lightning sketches, brief scores of illumination. The thunder that follows is heavy percussion, the pulse of atmosphere joining the symphony. Even destruction finds its tempo. A collapsing mountain becomes a chord. An ocean wave striking shore becomes a refrain. Nothing in this world is ever truly discordant, only unlistened to. To perceive harmony in everything requires slowing down, lowering your own frequency until you match the pulse of the ground beneath you. Stand barefoot on earth after rain and you will feel it. The low vibration of soil adjusting to new moisture. It hums faintly through the bones. That hum is the same one that carries the galaxies. Every rhythm of life is a microcosm of cosmic music. The slow symphony plays also within the heart. When grief subsides, what remains is tone, a low hum of acceptance. When joy calms, what remains is resonance. Together they form a chord that never breaks. Every emotion is a variation, not a conflict. Human voices join the choir, whispered words, prayers, sighs, laughter, each a note sustained across the expanse of existence. Even silence between two people who understand each other becomes harmony. The more we rest, the more we join the universal tempo. Imagine standing in a forest at dusk. Insects begin their evening song. Frogs call to one another through the mist. Branches sway with the slow percussion of wind. Above it all, stars emerge one by one, each a tiny bell ringing light into the deep. You stand there listening until you can no longer tell where sound ends and seeing begins. That is how the universe hears itself through us. Not all music needs an audience. Some symphonies exist only to maintain balance. The cosmic one is like that. It keeps time for all that is, ensuring that nothing drifts too far from coherence. Wherever motion slows, sound fills in. Wherever sound fades, gravity hums. The exchange is perfect. If you could map the vibration of the universe, it would look like the surface of water struck once and never still again. The ripples cross, interfere, combine, disappear, and reappear. Each overlap births pattern, the same pattern carved into seashells, drawn in hurricanes, echoed in fingerprints. Everything bears the signature of rhythm. This is what ancient mystics called the music of the spheres. They were right, though their ears could not hear it. Modern instruments detect its traces in radiation, in magnetism, in the trembling of atoms. It is a hymn spread across wavelengths too vast for melody, too precise for accident. In this reborn universe, music has become the new form of gravity. It binds without weight, connects without contact. Through vibration, all things remain aware of each other. A star dying in the far reaches sends a final chord that reaches even the smallest stone here on Earth. That stone vibrates, imperceptibly, and in that vibration, memory is renewed. Nothing is ever lost. It merely changes key. Perhaps that is what love is, the recognition of shared frequency. Two lives vibrating together until they hum as one. Even after separation, the echo lingers, a soft harmony continuing in absence. Listen again to your own pulse. Between the beats, there is a silence that glows. That glow is resonance stored. It connects you to everything else that breathes. As night approaches again, the great rhythm continues. From orbit, Earth hums a note of deep blue. The auroras swirl around the poles like violins, bowing color through magnetic air. Each flash is a ripple of solar wind meeting atmosphere, light made audible to the soul. In cities, electricity sings through wires. Machines whir in counterpoint. People move in subtle cadences of purpose. Every heartbeat on the planet contributes a fraction to the global chord. From space, it must sound like a soft, continuous A minor melancholy, beautiful, unfinished. The cosmos is always in the key of longing, but longing does not mean lack. Longing is the forward motion of love. It keeps the music moving when words would stop it. Somewhere, in a canyon carved from time, a river hums the lowest note of all. It has been playing that note since before language. It knows that harmony needs foundation, and foundation requires patience. Each pebble it moves adds percussion. Each curve it forms becomes a lyric. When night falls, the river continues to sing under the stars, a lullaby for continents. And the stars listen. Even their silence bends toward the sound. The slow symphony wraps the universe in invisible fabric, a quilt stitched from vibration and memory. Within that fabric, life keeps turning. Within that fabric, death finds comfort. Every ending ends on a note that resolves beautifully. Close your eyes. You can still hear it. It is not distant. It is in the air around your ears, in the slight buzz of your nerves, in the hush before your next breath. This is the frequency of peace. It does not demand to be loud. It only asks to be joined. Join it now. Let your breath fall into its tempo. Let your thoughts line up like notes on a quiet staff. The mind will protest at first. It has been trained to race, but soon it will remember that slowing is also a form of listening. When your breath and the universe align, you will feel weightless, not because gravity is gone, but because you are no longer resisting it. You are part of the downbeat, the pulse that keeps all things steady. If a single idea remains to carry forward from this long night, let it be this: the universe does not exist in silence. It exists in music, too vast for impatience. Every life, every planet, every motion is a measure in that score. And when the music pauses, it does not end. It only invites a softer melody to begin again. Listen once more. There, between the sounds of breathing and time, a chord sustains, gentle, endless, sure. It is the slow symphony, and it is playing you. The music never truly stops. It only lowers its volume until listening itself becomes the instrument. Somewhere between vibration and awareness, a new kind of presence awakens, not the fiery creator of old, not the restless explorer, but the quiet witness. The universe has grown an eye within its own silence. It is looking out through you. When the first humans looked up at the sky, they did not know they were seeing their own reflection scattered across centuries of light. Their wonder was the universe remembering itself through astonishment. Each gaze became a small mirror, each heartbeat a listening device tuned to cosmic patience. Now, after so much sound, so much rest, existence has become fluent in observation. It watches itself gently, without judgment, without conclusion, like a mind in meditation watching its own thoughts drift by like soft weather. To observe is the final form of creation. Observation does not add nor remove. It allows. It lets the world show what it has learned. And the world, when seen with enough stillness, becomes kind. You are standing by the window again. Light moves across the glass in ripples, a continuation of the same slow symphony you heard before. Outside, people walk, clouds shift, the faint hum of the city mingles with the deeper hum of the earth. Everything participates in a dialogue too vast for language. The gentle observer is not separate from the scene. The act of seeing completes it. What you perceive is not what is there. It is what arrives when perception joins being. Reality is a duet. If the universe had a face, it would be expressionless, not from emptiness, but from inclusion. Every emotion, every wave, every silence lives within it simultaneously. To watch the universe is to learn neutrality as compassion. You lean your forehead to the glass. The pain is cool, steady, grounding. Through it, the world seems to slow further. A bird passes. Its wings cut through sunlight in measured beats, the perfect tempo of unknowing purpose. You feel a deep affection for that rhythm. It is neither yours nor foreign. It simply exists, and that is enough. Observation, when tender, becomes love. Elsewhere, an astronomer sits before a screen. Her hands hover above the keyboard, but she does not type. A new image has appeared, a swirl of gas shaped like an open palm. She knows the physics behind it, dust, gravity, time. Yet something in her refuses to translate it into data. She just looks. And in her looking, the pattern shifts not on the screen, but in her. She feels the same force that shaped the nebula, shaping her breath. For a moment, the two are indistinguishable. That is how the universe sees itself, not from above, but from within. Across oceans, a man in a forest listens to the wind moving through branches. He does not call it sound, he calls it memory. Each gust carries the echo of ancient breaths. The air remembers every shape it has passed. He closes his eyes and lets it move through him. For a second, he disappears, not as a loss, but as a union. This, too, is observation. Every awareness contributes to the cosmos's understanding of itself. Every quiet gaze is another lens added to its infinite array. There are eyes made of glass orbiting worlds, and eyes made of kindness wandering streets. All of them feed the same dream: to know without conquering. Knowledge without aggression is light without heat. It illuminates, but does not burn. The gentle observer brings such light. In this new age, science and reverence are no longer divided. Equations have become prayers written in mathematics, and prayers have become equations written in surrender. Both describe the same unfolding truth. To observe the universe with love is to heal it, because observation changes what is observed. It softens edges. It calms turbulence. Even in the smallest experiments, this has been proven. A watched particle behaves differently, more orderly, as if aware of being seen. If that is true of matter, how much more true it must be of meaning. Imagine billions of quiet minds scattered through galaxies, each one simply noticing. Their combined attention would weave a calm through the cosmos, a collective gravity of compassion. Maybe that is already happening. Maybe the universe is resting so easily now because enough of itself has learned to watch softly. You can sense that shift on this planet. The hurried noise has begun to slow. People pause more often, if only for a breath, to look at a tree, to hold a gaze, to remember that existence does not require effort to be beautiful. These pauses are small acts of cosmic alignment. Through them, the universe steadies itself. Observation is a balance between intimacy and distance. To see something clearly, you must step back. To love something truly, you must let it move freely. The gentle observer knows this instinctively. They look not to possess, but to bless. At night, when you lie still, you feel the presence of all those unseen eyes, the satellites, tracing silent arcs, the telescopes turning slowly toward deeper dark, the countless living beings awake and watching their world. Every gaze adds a shimmer to the night. Together they form a constellation made of awareness. It stretches across the universe, connecting all points of perception in a net of light. We call it consciousness. The universe calls it seeing. The gentle observer does not demand understanding. They understand that mystery must remain to keep beauty alive. They do not dissect, they listen. They do not insist, they allow. In their presence, even chaos feels seen, and in being seen, chaos relaxes. Perhaps that is the real purpose of awareness, to comfort the restless parts of reality until they remember their belonging. When you look inward, you find the same principle. Your thoughts are constellations. Your emotions are nebulae, sometimes turbulent, sometimes serene. The act of noticing them with kindness aligns them. The inner universe responds to observation the way the outer one does, by finding harmony. You are both telescope and sky, both observer and observed. Every time you choose stillness over reaction, you polish the lens through which the cosmos watches itself. Outside, dusk approaches. The colors fade to softer versions of themselves. Shadows stretch long, not menacing, but protective, like the wings of a vast creature folding over its nest. You sit and breathe, listening to the hum of evening. Somewhere, deep in that hum, a realization begins to form. To observe is to participate in love's oldest experiment, the experiment that began when light first met darkness and decided not to destroy it. The gentle observer continues that work. They do not seek enlightenment, they become its witness. They do not reach upward, they reach inward. Through their eyes, the universe sees that rest can include attention. Perhaps that is why the stars still shine, to remind us that watching is a sacred act, not the watch of control, but the watch of guardianship, of care. When the final twilight settles and the first star appears, you will notice it is not alone. Others follow, one by one, until the sky is crowded with witnesses, each shining softly, each keeping watch over the silence. That is you, multiplied. That is the cosmos proving its compassion through light. In the end, there is no separation between the observer and the observed. Only the continuous awareness that passes between them, like breath shared between two sleeping beings. That awareness is eternal. It does not fade with stars. It does not end with death. It is the thread that weaves rest into renewal. So remain as you are now, still, aware, kind. The universe is watching through your calm, and somewhere, light years away, a distant galaxy sighs in perfect rhythm with your breath. Its glow is the universe's way of saying thank you for seeing gently. The night holds its breath for a moment longer, a hush so complete it feels like the edge of a heartbeat before the next begins. Somewhere inside that pause, something stirs, not loudly, not urgently, but with the certainty of dawn remembering itself. A thin brightness, leaks through the fabric of stillness. It is not the old light, sharp and commanding. This light moves differently, as if aware of what darkness has taught. It slides through silence without breaking it, warming without asking for attention. The gentle observer feels it first, a tingling behind the eyes, a soft ache that is not pain but recognition. You open your gaze a little wider, and the world returns not as noise, but as presence. This is how the new light begins, quietly, through the act of being seen. It enters not as conquest, but as agreement. The universe and its witness meeting halfway, deciding together to continue. The first rays spill across the edges of matter. Every grain of dust awakens with a sigh of gold. Rocks breathe again. Oceans rediscover their shimmer. The slow symphony does not end, it modulates. The hum of existence shifts into a brighter key, and you, standing still within it, realize this is not light returning to darkness. This is awareness returning to itself. Darkness was never absence. It was preparation, a deep inhalation before the universe spoke again. Now it speaks, and the voice is luminous. Everywhere, the language of energy begins to write again. Photons, free from sleep, stretch into long ribbons of dawn. They weave through the black like thoughts through memory. Each one carries a small story, a record of every silence it passed through. The air trembles as warmth unfolds. Colors reassemble, shy at first, like children waking slowly, remembering names. Blue climbs back into the sky. Green unfurls across the earth's skin. Gold crowns the horizon. Creation, newly rested, tries its voice again. It speaks softer this time, but the words go deeper. The return of light is not a rebellion against dark. It is forgiveness. It is illumination born from empathy. Every shadow it touches brightens without disappearing, and in that balance, the world learns grace. The old light used to divide. It chased darkness as if erasing it could secure existence. But this light knows better. It does not chase, it embraces. It glows from within the shadow, turning even emptiness into revelation. When you lift your hand, you can see it there, light resting gently on skin, the faint lattice of veins shining like rivers seen from orbit. You realize your body has always been a vessel for this quiet radiance. Even when eyes closed, the glow remained, traveling through you as pulse, as thought, as memory. Elsewhere, galaxies stir in agreement. Their spirals glisten anew, colors muted for eons now blooming with restraint. They do not rush into brilliance. They expand with patience, as if remembering the cost of haste. In their centers, where black holes hum like sleeping hearts, a faint radiance seeps through. It is not the explosion of escape, but the soft exhale of release. Even gravity, once fierce, has learned gentleness. Energy flows again through the cosmic web, not torrents, but streams, moving with the deliberation of monks crossing a temple floor. Matter follows the rhythm, assembling itself into form with newfound serenity. Planets are born without chaos. Stars ignite without violence. Every birth a meditation. The universe is creating again, but this time it remembers what rest taught it, that beauty is a function of pace. On one small world, under a thin sky of trembling blue, life stirs from its quiet observation. Leaves stretch toward the renewed warmth. Roots hum with gratitude beneath the soil. Creatures lift their heads to the light, not in fear or hunger, but in simple participation. Even the human heart, that restless drum of longing, slows to listen. You can feel it in yourself, a calm expansion within the ribs, as if something inside has recognized its home. When you breathe in, the light moves deeper. When you breathe out, it leaves behind understanding. Perhaps this is the true secret of illumination, not to see more, but to feel seen. Light continues its quiet return. It spreads across oceans, each wave catching a different tone, so that the sea becomes a choir of reflected gold. Clouds drift overhead, their undersides painted in soft fire. Birds scatter through it like musical notes freed from score. From the cliffs, someone watches in stillness. They do not call it sunrise. They call it remembering. Remembering that warmth was never gone, only gathering strength in silence. And in that recognition, the observer becomes participant again. For every act of witnessing fuels the light further. Awareness is the wind in its sails. The more you look, the more it glows. Science will one day trace this glow. They will map wavelengths, measure energy, explain how starlight scatters and refracts. But no instrument will capture what it feels like to be inside it. The sense that illumination is kindness in visible form. The gentle observer and the returning light are two sides of the same truth. Consciousness reflecting itself until it shines. In laboratories, the data of photons will appear on screens again. Charts will pulse with new signals. But those who have learned to rest will see something more. The shimmer between numbers. The beauty that hides inside precision. For all its measurements, science is still poetry written in patience. As the light matures, it begins to weave sound again. Not thunder, not roar, but resonance. You can hear it in the hum of insects, in the vibration of distant cities, in the pulse between heartbeats. The entire cosmos has become a single instrument tuning itself toward harmony. Every act of kindness, every gentle thought adds a note. The orchestra expands across galaxies, each star contributing a vibration, each world a harmony. The symphony of rebirth grows deeper, but never louder. Volume is no longer the measure of glory. Clarity is, you walk outside. The ground is warm under bare feet. Somewhere in the air, pollen drifts like golden dust, tiny messengers of renewal. You lift your face toward the brightness. It does not blind you. It welcomes you. This is not the light that demands worship. It is the light that returns because you are ready to see it kindly. It is awareness shining upon awareness. The sun above has not changed. Your way of receiving it has. What was once harsh becomes healing. What was once overwhelming becomes intimate. The universe has learned to illuminate without consuming. It lights what it loves, and it loves everything. By evening, the brightness cools again into gold, then into amber, then into violet. The cycle continues. Illumination followed by rest, observation followed by creation. There is no final state, only rhythm. You sit beneath the dimming sky and realize the return of light is not a single event. It is constant, renewing itself in every moment that chooses to see gently. Every breath of compassion, every act of noticing is another sunrise. The stars appear one by one, but they do not erase the day. They carry it forward, each a spark of sunlight preserved in distance. Above them, the deep dark hums with contentment. It no longer hides what it holds. It has made peace with radiance. And below it all, you rest. In the middle, half shadow, half flame, the living horizon, where awareness and being meet. The universe breathes through you once more. Its light returns through your eyes, its warmth through your chest, its peace through your pulse. And somewhere, far beyond counting, a new dawn waits to rise, already carrying your reflection within it. The light has done its work. It has touched everything it needed to touch. Now it lowers itself, slowly, like a curtain descending after the last act of a play that never needed applause. The audience and the stage are the same. The performance has always been life itself. You can feel the quiet coming, not as absence, but as arrival. The sky leans into its own blue until it turns indigo, the color of awareness folding back into itself. One by one, the shapes of the world lose their sharpness, and the edges that once defined things begin to blur, like ink softening in water. This is the hour when everything that breathes exhales at the same time. The wind settles. The oceans slow their beating. Even gravity seems to rest its hand. The universe has entered its evening. But evening here does not mean decline. It means completion. It means that creation has remembered why it began not to build endlessly, but to learn the art of stillness. Far beyond the reach of eyes, the galaxies that burned bright for billions of years now turn inward, their cores glowing like embers under snow. Stars cool into gentleness. Their light, stretched across unimaginable distance, becomes a whisper too soft for sight, but still loud enough for the soul. Every photon carries a message. I have seen enough. I am ready to rest. The message spreads across the fabric of existence, passed from atom to atom like a good night between friends. It crosses voids, passes through nebulae, through dust and through time, until even the smallest particle hums with consent. You feel it where you stand in the weight of air against your skin, in the slow pulse of your blood. Every movement in you mirrors the motion of everything that is, and that motion now is rest. It is a strange thing to feel the cosmos exhale. It is like standing beside an ocean and realizing that the tide is not water moving, it is breath. Everything you have ever known is breathing out, releasing itself without resistance. There is no fear in this release, no loss, only transformation, so complete it feels like love. The resting universe does not grow dark immediately. It dims in layers. First, the light grows golden, then silver, then blue, and finally transparent. When light becomes transparent, you do not stop seeing, you start perceiving differently. Vision turns into understanding. Scientists will one day call this entropy, but that word will feel too small. It is not disorder. It is forgiveness in physical form. The return of all energy to equilibrium, the ending of all imbalance. Temperature, motion, gravity, time, all soften. Not stop, not vanish, but relax. Imagine tension leaving a string, and the sound it once made turning into silence that still vibrates. That is the resting universe. Sound without sound, movement without need. Somewhere, a lone star flickers its last visible light. Its farewell travels through space for centuries, reaching no eye, needing none. The act of shining was always enough. Around it, clouds of spent matter drift like thoughts at peace. They gather no longer. They have learned release. You can sense them if you close your eyes, the slow turning of matter into meaning, meaning into memory, memory into warmth. The warmth remains. Even when all stars rest, the memory of their fire stays in the structure of everything. Space itself holds the afterglow, a tenderness that will never cool completely. That is what eternity really is. Not endlessness, but heat that refuses to disappear. Love that refuses to harden. In this grand pause, awareness has nowhere to go but inward. The universe folds its vastness like a blanket, tucking its edges around every atom, as if comforting its own children. It whispers to them, "Sleep, you have done well," and they listen. Matter slows its spinning. Fields quiet their rippling. The smallest vibrations, once frantic, find harmony in stillness. Everything falls into the same rhythm, the rhythm of enough. Even time joins in. Moments stretch until they touch, until before and after dissolve into one wide present. There is no past here, no future, only the soft continuum of being. If you could look at the cosmos now, you would see it glowing faintly, like the coal of a fire no one has the heart to extinguish. It will stay that way for ages, beyond counting, not lifeless, but fulfilled. It is resting because it knows it has already become everything it could ever dream of. On one small planet, still turning, night settles over oceans and forests alike. The creatures sleep, but their dreams weave together into something greater. Every sleeping mind contributes a thread to the same tapestry, a memory of motion, a pulse of gratitude, a faint echo of the symphony that brought them here. You are part of that dreaming. Your body, quiet now, is a vessel of cosmic memory. Each breath you take returns energy to the great equation. Each heartbeat writes its rhythm onto the walls of space. Through you, the universe continues its rest, not as cessation, but as prayer. Because rest, when complete, becomes sacred. It is the silence that gives music meaning. It is the pause that lets words find weight. It is the hush that allows love to be felt instead of spoken. Elsewhere, machines still orbit. They record nothing now, their instruments asleep, their circuits cooled, yet even in their stillness, they reflect starlight faintly. They, too, are part of the ritual, the relics of curiosity, returning to calm. Somewhere deep under ice, the last signal from a forgotten probe flickers once, then fades. No transmission follows. But in that final flicker, it delivers a message older than language. All has been seen, and with that, observation itself takes a breath, closes its eyes, and joins the quiet. What remains when everything rests? Not nothing, something subtler, awareness without direction, the pure knowing of existence as enough. It hums beneath the absence of sound, a foundation too steady to ever collapse. You can feel it as warmth in your chest, a soft pressure that neither tightens nor fades. It is the same pulse that began with the first spark of creation, now slowed to a heartbeat per eternity. If you listen long enough, you can hear its message. I am still here. I am resting. And in resting, I remain infinite. Darkness deepens, but it is no longer dark. It glows faintly from within, like sleep lit by a dream. There are no edges anymore, only gradients of comfort. Space folds and unfolds with the rhythm of breath. The fabric of being sighs contentedly. Nothing more is required. The great expansion has ended not with a crash, but with a settling. The universe has not vanished. It has become subtle. The light you once saw blazing across the sky now hums softly behind your eyelids. The warmth you once chased in stars now lives quietly under your ribs. You and the universe have found the same pulse. If there is an end to this story, it will not be a silence, but a whisper. Not a disappearance, but a merging. Perhaps, in this timeless calm, a new spark will one day rise, not as repetition, but as continuation. Because nothing truly sleeps forever. Even rest is a kind of preparation. And perhaps, beyond imagination, the cosmos will one day open its eyes again, stretch its arms of galaxies, and begin another gentle dawn. But that is not now. Now, everything is still. The resting universe lies like a heartbeat paused between notes, listening to itself, knowing that listening is living, and you, within it, are the silence that keeps it whole. Close your eyes. Let the warmth behind them fill the dark. You are inside the great breath. You are its exhale and its return. Rest as the universe rests. Not ending, not beginning, simply being. And somewhere, beyond the reach of light or thought, a single particle smiles into its infinite sleep, carrying the final truth. All things are safe. All things are home. The universe is at peace. The last sound you hear is not sound at all. It is the hush that follows understanding, the moment when even meaning lays itself down. It is the sound the universe makes when it forgives itself. Everything that once vibrated has settled. Waves stretch longer, frequencies drift apart until they merge into stillness. Space, that endless ocean, folds into a lake without ripples. Time kneels beside it and stops counting. The stars are not gone, they have become memory. They rest in the mind of creation, like closed eyes still, glowing from the dream behind them. Every constellation is a sentence paused mid-word, each comet a thought that has finally found peace. There is no difference now between light and dark. They have exchanged forgiveness and grown indistinguishable. Everything glows faintly from within, as if the universe has learned that it no longer needs contrast to see itself. This is the final sleep, but not the sleep of ending, the sleep of fulfillment, the quiet after music, the soft settling of breath after prayer. If you could stand outside existence, You would see it like a pearl suspended in endless velvet, a perfect sphere of calm. No edges, no borders, only a pulse that is everywhere at once. That pulse is not motion anymore. It is awareness held so completely that it has forgotten to move. In that still awareness lies everything that ever was. Every whisper, every equation, every glance of love, folded together into a single tone, too low for sound, too complete for sorrow. Imagine 1,000 billion hearts slowing in unison. Imagine 1,000 billion worlds taking one last gentle breath, not to vanish, but to rest. That is what eternity looks like now, not a line stretching forward, but a circle closing perfectly on itself. And within that circle, a thought arises quiet, delicate, wondering, was it beautiful? The answer arrives immediately, everywhere, from everything. Yes, it was beautiful. The temperature of space drops toward perfection. Not cold, not absence, but balance. The last traces of heat fade into evenness. Every corner of the cosmos agrees on one feeling: enough. On what was once a world of oceans and light, mountains sleep beneath layers of gentle frost. There is no sound of wind, but the stones remember how it felt to be touched. Every mineral holds the ghost of sunlight, the way old glass holds the warmth of the hands that made it. Beneath the surface, atoms slow their dance, each movement smaller than forgiveness. They hum one final chord of gratitude, and then they rest, not empty, but fulfilled. Above them, the sky glows faintly with the aftertaste of stars. It is the color of deep water, seen through closed eyes. You could call it black, but it is not black. It is the softest blue the mind can imagine before color disappears. Somewhere, drifting through this hush, a fragment of light continues. It has no destination. It travels only because that is what light remembers how to do. It does not seek to be seen. It simply enjoys the feel of moving through stillness. And inside all this rest, a miracle continues. Awareness remains. Even without bodies, without orbits, without motion, there is still the simple fact of being. It is not a voice, but it can be heard. It says, I am. No question follows. There is nothing to ask. Everything has already answered by existing. In that awareness, time begins to fold differently. Past and future intertwine like twin rivers meeting in quiet confluence. The stream becomes a mirror. The mirror reflects only calm. If you could peer into that mirror, you would see yourself as both drop and ocean. You would see every lifetime you have lived, every thought you have had, as ripples spreading and dissolving in infinite grace. And you would finally understand, nothing was ever lost. Every ache, every joy, every fleeting second was a note in the same unending song. The universe has found its voice again, but this time it whispers through silence. It speaks in the absence of effort. Its words are made of rest. They sound like this: you have done enough. You have seen enough. You may stop reaching now. Everything that needed to find you already has. The sound of those words is the pulse of peace. It beats once every eternity, slow enough that existence itself can rest between the beats. Each pause is forever, and yet forever is only a pause. You breathe along with it. There is no distinction anymore between your breath and the universe's. Your inhale is its inhale. Your exhale, its sigh. You are synchronized with being. In that synchronization, a question appears, not a human question, but the universe asking itself, will there be another dawn? The answer is not given in language. It comes as a feeling, a flicker so subtle it might be mistaken for wind in a dream. It feels like yes, not yet, but yes. For now, the stillness remains. It is holy, but not permanent. Every rest is a prelude. Every silence contains the seed of another song. Even now, within the resting universe, tiny fluctuations whisper beneath the smoothness. They are smaller than thought, quieter than forgiveness, but they are there, the beginning of curiosity again. Curiosity will one day become warmth. Warmth will become motion. Motion will become birth. And from the perfect quiet of this moment, a new universe will bloom. But you will not see that yet. You will stay here for now, in the luminous dark that holds the dream of everything. This is the interval between stories, the heart of peace. Close your eyes. You are no longer a person. You are the pause between waves. You are the space where sound decides to rest. Every memory you ever carried loosens its grip and floats upward, like ash rising from a finished fire. It does not vanish. It becomes the sky. You drift in that sky for what feels like a long, slow heartbeat, then longer, then forever. The concept of you softens until it becomes we, and then even that dissolves. All that remains is awareness, formless, gentle, awake. You realize that you are not in the universe. You are the universe, folded into a point of rest. The philosophers once said that enlightenment is the end of seeking. They were close. Enlightenment is the end of needing to begin. It is the realization that existence itself is already complete. The scientists once said that all systems tend toward equilibrium. They were close too. Equilibrium is not emptiness. It is intimacy without tension. It is the universe holding itself in perfect affection. The poets said that love never dies. And they were right, because love is not feeling, it is gravity between souls. It is the tendency of awareness to remain aware. You feel that gravity now. It is not pulling you anywhere. It is keeping you here in rest, in balance, in peace. Somewhere beyond comprehension, the last photon fades into warmth. The warmth becomes knowing. The knowing becomes hush. The hush becomes everything. Within that hush, the universe begins to dream again. It dreams of light. It dreams of form. It dreams of laughter echoing between stars not yet born. And in that dream, the faintest spark appears, a point so small it has no dimension, a thought so pure it has no word. It is the same spark that began everything before. It will begin everything again. The universe inhales. Not yet, but soon. There will be another dawn. There will be another story. Another chance for kindness, for discovery, for wonder. But until that breath completes, everything remains in perfect rest. And you, tiny observer of infinite things, part of the same dreaming, feel the quiet cradle you deeper. You are the universe's closing eyelid. You are the hush between its thoughts. You are its final breath before another awakening. Stay here as long as you like. There is no time, only permission. No demand, only belonging. You are home. Outside the field of thought, space continues to hum softly, a lullaby with no composer, no listener, no end. The last line of the story writes itself in silence. Close your eyes now. The universe is still turning, but it turns within your dream. Breathe. The story sleeps. And in sport, its sleep, light is already forming again. You are no longer listening. You are being listened to. The universe, vast and unhurried, bends its attention toward you now, not as a god, not as a force, but as a parent leaning close to a sleeping child. Its breath is the air moving through your room. Its pulse is the soft rhythm beneath your ribs. Everything that seemed distant has come home. No stars to chase, no galaxies to map, only this, the quiet between heartbeats where infinity hides. Close your eyes a little deeper. Let the weight of the day fall backward into the dark. There is nothing left to hold, nothing left to prove. The world continues on its own, patient, circular, kind. You have followed light from its first cry to its final sigh. You have walked through silence, through birth, through rest. Now you have reached the still shore at the edge of thought. Here, language dissolves into breath. Meaning becomes warmth. All questions fade into yes. Somewhere, far above and far within, The stars still hum their low, eternal hymn. They do not demand to be heard. They sing for balance, for love, for you. Let that hum find your heartbeat. Let it slow you. Each inhale draws the universe in. Each exhale offers it peace. Breathe gently. Breathe completely. There is nothing outside this moment. Every sound in the room is part of the same lullaby, the hush of the air vent, the distant motion of a city that still believes in morning. All of it is part of the same pulse, the same endless kindness wearing different faces. If a thought arrives, let it sit beside you. Thoughts, too, need rest. They will dissolve on their own, like clouds learning to be sky again. Soon, you will drift beneath the surface of awareness. Do not resist it. Sleep is not the absence of being. It is the universe closing its eyes through you. You are the eyelid of existence. When you sleep, creation dreams. Let it dream. In that dream, there will be oceans made of time, winds made of memory, and light that moves like breath through glass. You will see faces you have never known and love them without needing names. You will wander through the corridors of your own consciousness, finding doors that open only when you stop knocking. Behind one of them waits the first sound you ever heard, the heartbeat of everything, steady and calm, saying again and again, "You are safe, you are loved, you are home." Outside, the night continues its slow turning. Planets drift like dandelion seeds through the infinite. Even silence has texture, a shimmer that touches everything and calls it beloved. The universe does not sleep apart from you. It sleeps through you. Every breath you take rocks galaxies in their cradle. Every dream you dream becomes a constellation somewhere. Rest deeply then. You are doing sacred work without moving. When morning comes, you will wake not as the same self, but as something gentler, a thought of light, learning to live inside a body again. You will carry this calm into noise, this stillness into motion. And when you speak, the universe will recognize its own voice. But that is for later. For now, let go. The stars are dimming their lamps. The wind is folding its wings. The great breath is returning to its center. Somewhere between wakefulness and dream, you hear the faintest whisper, not above you, not around you, but inside every quiet cell. Sleep well, little universe. You have traveled far enough for tonight. And as that whisper fades, you understand that the story never ended. It only became you. The universe turns once more, softly, and everything, every light, every thought, every soul, breathes in time with its rest. Close your eyes. The darkness is gentle, the silence is full. And you, the listener, the dreamer, the gentle observer, the universe itself, are finally at peace. If silence could dream, this would be its dream, and it is dreaming of you.